says if I exert myself, I will die.
You overexert yourself, you will die.
I tell you what, you finish the workout, all these could be yours. That looks good. A little bit of honey ham for the ham. Get after it, and that's your get after it, and that's your treat. Stay. Do the exercise, do the work, then you get the reward. That's how this works, man. You gotta give it max effort, maximum effort. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Big hams. Make it work, those hams. Work. Putting in the work. Yeah, baby. Yes. Dude, this is a spicy workout. Gotta make it worth it. Building the beef and bringing home the bacon, baby. I'm loving it. Teriyaki is just about within your reach. Come on, get you some. Come on. Ooh, ooh. Maximum effort. Maximum effort. You're there. You're almost there.
That's probably worth it.
What do you make of this up here? Just showed up in the yard a couple days ago.
Dog been digging in there?
I don't think so, dude. That goes way down in there. Seriously, did you just lose your meat stick?
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's something in there, dude. Just leave it.
Are you kidding me?
We'll just head to the house. Just leave it.
The hell with that.
Oh, yeah, there's something in there.
Come on.
Thank you.
It was worth it.
Oh, man, this is incredible.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Hey, man, grab me a meat stick. I think I can reach it if I just a little more. Just let me go a little. I can't. Just a little more. I almost got it. Careful! Oh, God. No, come on, just reach. Reach. Just grab my hand. Grab my hand.
Give me the meat stick. This other hand's closer. The one with the stick is... Oh! What am I supposed to say?
It doesn't matter. He's dead. He ain't listening to you anyway.
I'm hungry.
No. Put it away. I can't watch it. Oh, crap. Just reach in. You gotta pull it. Just grab it. Just take it out of his hand. You just can't. What do you mean you can't?
Just won't let go.
What do you mean you won't let go? He's dead.
Help me. Get in there. No, just hold on.
Make him let go of it. No, I got you. Just go in for a hug. Go and get on in there. It's a bad loss. Yeah, hug him up. Just reach. Hug him up.
He's breathing.
I think it's on the other side.
Go.
I can't.
Just-
I can't do it.
Help me, Lord. Help me get over this loss.
I can't breathe.
Hey, I can't breathe. I'm so upset. I can't breathe. Stop. You knock on wood so they go to heaven. It's like a lucky. Hey, get the stick.
Yeah.
Hey, do you the meat stick?
Yeah, I got it.
Hey, just hold tight for a second. They're moving the casket. Just hold tight.
Yeah, that's no worries. I got it.
Oh, what an awesome day for a pump, dude.
Yeah, I gotta take it easy. Doc says if I exert myself, I will die.
You overexert yourself, you will die.
I tell you what, you finish the workout, all these could be yours. That looks good. A little bit of honey ham for the ham. Get after it, and that's your get after it, and that's your treat. Stay. Do the exercise, do the work, then you get the reward. That's how this works, man. You gotta give it max effort, maximum effort. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Big hams. Make it work, those hams. Work 'em. Putting in the work. Yeah, baby. Yes. Dude, this is a spicy workout. Gotta make it worth it. Building the beef and bringing home the bacon, baby. I'm loving it. Teriyaki is just about within your reach. Come on, get you some. Come on. Ooh, ooh. Maximum effort. Maximum effort. You're there. You're almost there.
That's so worth it.
What do you make of this up here? Just showed up in the yard a couple days ago.
Dog been digging in there?
I don't think so, dude. That goes way down in there. Seriously, did you just lose your meat stick?
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's something in there, dude. Just leave it.
Are you kidding me?
We'll just head to us. Just leave it.
Hell with that.
Oh, yeah. There's something in there.
Want one?
Thank you.
It was worth it.
Oh, man, this is incredible.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Hey, man, grab me a meat stick. I think I can reach it if I just a little more. Just let me go a little. I can't. Just a little more. I almost got it. Careful! Oh, God. No. Come on, just reach. Reach. Just grab my hand. I can't hold it. Grab my hand.
Give me the meat stick. This other hand's closer. The one with the stick is... Oh! What am I supposed to say?
It doesn't matter. He's dead. He ain't listening to you anyway.
I'm hungry.
No. Put it away. I can't watch it. Oh, crap. Just reach in. You gotta pull it. Just grab it. Just take it out of his hand. You just can't. What do you mean you can't?
Just won't let go.
What do you mean you won't let go? He's dead.
Help me. Get in there. No, just hold on.
Make him let go of it. No, I got you. Just go in for a hug. Go and get on in there. It's a bad loss. Yeah, hug him up. Just reach. Hug him up.
He's breathing.
On the other side.
Go.
I can't.
Just-
I can't do it.
Help me, Lord. Help me get over this loss.
I can't breathe.
Hey, I can't breathe. I'm so upset. I can't breathe. Stop. You knock on wood so they go to heaven. It's like a lucky. Get the stick.
Yeah.
Hey, did you get the meat stick?
Yeah, I got it.
Hey, just hold tight for a second. They're moving the casket. Just hold tight.
Yeah, it's no worries. I got it.
Oh, what an awesome day for a pump, dude.
Yeah, I gotta take it easy. Doc says if I exert myself, I will die.
You overexert yourself, you will die.
I'll tell you what. You finish the workout, all these could be yours. That looks good. A little bit of honey ham for the ham. Get after it, and that's your get after it, and that's your treat. Hey, do the exercise, do the work, then you get the reward. That's how this works, man. You gotta give it max effort, maximum effort. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Big hams. Make it work, those hams. Work 'em. Putting in the work. Yeah, baby. Yes. Dude, this is a spicy workout. Gotta make it work. worth it. Building the beef and bringing home the bacon, baby. I'm loving it. Teriyaki is just about within your reach. Come on, get you some. Come on. Maximum effort. Maximum effort. You're there. You're almost there.
That's probably worth it.
What do you make of this up here? Just showed up in the yard a couple days
Has a
ago.
dog been digging in here?
I don't think so, dude. That goes way down in there. Seriously, did you just lose your meat stick?
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's something in there, dude. Just leave it.
Are you kidding me?
We'll just head to this. Just leave it.
Hell with that.
Ah, yeah, there's something in there.
Want one?
Thank you.
It was worth it.
Oh, man, this is incredible.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Hey, man, grab me a meat stick. I think I can reach it if I just a little more. Just let me go a little. I can't. Just a little more. I almost got it. Careful! Oh, God. No. Come on, just reach. Reach. Just grab my hand. I can't hold it. Grab my hand.
Give me the meat stick. This other hand's closer. The one with the stick is.
Oh.
What am I supposed to say?
It doesn't matter. He's dead. He ain't listening to you anyway.
I'm hungry.
No. Put it away. I can't put it. Oh, crap. Just reach in. You gotta pull it. Just grab it. Just take it out of his hand. What do you mean you can't?
Let go.
What do you mean you won't let go? He's dead.
Help me. Get in there. Now just hold on.
Make him let go of it. No, I got you. Just go in for a hug. Go and get on in there. It's a bad loss. Yeah, hug him up. Just reach. Hug him up.
He's breathing.
On the other side.
Go.
I can't.
Just-
I can't do it. Help!
Help me, Lord. Help me get over this loss.
I can't breathe.
Hey, I can't breathe. I'm so upset. I can't breathe. Stop. You knock on wood so they go to heaven. It's like a lucky. Hey, get the stick.
Yeah.
Hey, did you get the meat stick?
Yeah, I got it.
Hey, just hold tight for a second. They're moving the casket. Just hold tight.
Yeah, that's no worries. I got it.
Oh, what an awesome day for a pump, dude.
Yeah, I gotta take it easy. Doc says if I exert myself, I will die.
You overexert yourself, you will die.
I'll tell you what. You finish the workout, all these could be yours. That looks good. A little bit of honey ham for the ham. Get after it, and that's your get after it, and that's your treat. Hey, do the exercise, do the work, then you get the reward. That's how this works, man. You gotta give it max effort, maximum effort. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Big hams. Make it work, those hams. Work 'em. Putting in the work. Yeah, baby. Yes. Dude, this is a spicy workout. Gotta make it worth it. Building the beef and bringing home the bacon, baby. I'm loving it. Teriyaki is just about within your reach. Come on, get you some. Come on. Maximum effort. Maximum effort. You're there. You're almost there.
That's so worth it.
What do you make of this up here? Just showed up in the yard a couple days
Has a
ago.
dog been digging in here?
I don't think so, dude. That goes way down in there. Seriously, did you just lose your meat stick?
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's something in there, dude. Just leave it.
Are you kidding me?
We'll just head to the house. Just leave it.
Hell with that.
Ah, yeah, there's something in there. Ah!
Want one?
Thank you.
It was worth it.
Oh, man, this is incredible.
Wow.
Huh?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Hey, man, grab me a meat stick. I think I can reach it if I just a little more. Just let me go a little. I can't. Just a little more. I almost got it. Careful! Oh, God. No. Come on, just reach. Reach. Just grab my hand. I can't hold it. Grab my hand.
Give me the meat stick. This other hand's closer. The one with the stick is. Oh. What am I supposed to say?
It doesn't matter. He's dead. He ain't listening to you anyway.
I'm hungry.
No. Put it away. I can't put it. Oh, crap. Just reach in. You gotta pull it. Just grab it. Just take it out of his hand. You just can't. What do you mean you can't?
Won't let go.
What do you mean you won't let go? He's dead.
Help me. Get in there. No, just hold on.
Make him let go of it. No, I got you covered. Just go in for a hug. Go and get on in there. It's a bad loss. Yeah, hug him up. Just reach. Hug him up.
He's breathing.
On the other side.
Go.
I can't.
Just-
I can't do it. Help!
Help me, Lord. Help me get over this loss.
I can't breathe.
Hey, I can't breathe. I'm so upset. I can't breathe. Stop.
Good evening, everyone. It has been a long semester for all of our schools, all of our teams, but now here in the Division 1 Grand Finals for NECC Valorant, it is going to come to a close. My name is Sam Talks. Joining me is Zobi. Zobi, we have a gigabanger of a matchup tonight with Northwood Esports taking on the Baker Swarm.
Yes, a rematch from our upper quarterfinals to decide who is your Division 1 champion. And Baker Swarm, this ragtag group of Tier 2 players coming in under a collegiate banner and making work of the NECC 1 division versus Northwood University, right? The collegiate kings fallen from grace, hitting their stride once again with the slightly revamped roster and the return of Ferbsa. So it's great.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm glad you mentioned roster. So let's go ahead and take a look at said rosters and find out just who is playing on them. Baker Swarm, Nami, Ladder Moose, Rice Ball, and Demon and Fate. Over there on the other side, Zobi, I'll let you take care of Northwood Blue.
Yep, Ferbsa, Tuzi, Benji, Vix, and Dip. Maybe we'll get a surprise appearance from Darkest. They're super subtle. Only time will tell. Or Coach Joe. But aside from that, these are definitely like two squads to be trifled with.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Northwood Blue, so far a clean upper bracket run to make it to the grand finals, losing only one map to Concordia. St. Paul Blue, meanwhile, Baker Swarm, as you mentioned, in the quarterfinals, knocked down by Northwood, having to make a heroic run of their own against some powerhouse teams like OC Eagles, like Texas A&M Maroon, and Concordia St. Paul Blue to bring themselves back up here for that grudge match, that rematch They're ready to repay it for in blood. And Toby, here's the best part, right? Of these grand finals, this is a best of 5 series. So we're going to be in for a long night.
And that's what's good about that long, arduous journey for Baker Swarm is they got to expand upon their map pool, play maps that may not be within their top 3 for best of 3s versus Northwood has stuck to kind of this small 3-4 map gap that they know. So as we jump into picks and bans here, Ascent, I was surprised a little bit to see it get banned out because both of these teams have played it a fair bit, but I think it's because Baker Swarm knew Northwood was going to ban their own ban, in my eyes, of Pearl, which leaves these common ground 5, except for Icebox and Split, the less played of the group, if we make it all the way down the list.
It's a long map pool that we have to work our way through. It all starts off on Fracture, though. That's where I think a lot of our eyes are going to be looking towards the smaller size of this map compared to the rest of the pool that we have looking in front of us. And I know for what we see out of both of these teams, how they like to play around Fracture, the agent compositions that we get out of them, right, Zobi, it's that sort of typical flavor that we are seeing across Valorant for how Fracture is played. But then there's also, right, the potential, what we saw from the roster, especially when you look at Northwood Blue, the return of Darkest.
Oh yeah, Fraction starting off. I was kind of silly. I was like looking at the history and I'm like, why has Vix never played Fracture with this squad? Like Darkest always subs in, and I mean it's a Breach player. Like if you think of Breach, that's like the first collegiate player that comes to mind a lot of the time. But I'm hoping we get to see Vix here for their debut map. But that's the thing is, Fracture and Lotus are the 2 maps that were played the last time these 2 teams faced off, and that is 1 and 3 in our map pool this evening. So in my mind, Baker Swarm, they've got to win Haven, and they've got to win on the tail end of this series. That or they have to right the wrongs of the past, which Lotus was a very close 15-13 where Northwood edged it out, but Fracture was a little bit more one-sided with that 13-9.
Yeah, and it's still something to think about, right, with how these maps could go. That Lotus game obviously didn't get a chance to take a look at it, but perhaps a coin flip, whatever happened inside of overtime that Baker Swarm just wasn't ready for. And now the grand finals mindset is there. It's locked in. They're ready to go. They want to take this chance and the opportunity to fight back against a powerhouse team that has been Northwood Blue, who looked immaculate during the regular season. And for Baker Swarm to come back to this point, to come back to this avenue through what they did in the lower bracket, is a testament to what this program is capable of. Same thing can be said, obviously, though, for Northwood Blue with what we've been seeing coming out of them. And obviously what happened wasn't a fluke. What happened so far in the playoffs hasn't been a fluke. You've seen what they can do. And for Baker Swarm, hopefully the adaptations, hopefully the lessons they've learned through the lower bracket, through having gone up against Northwood Blue that first time, has been taken to heart.
And I mean, again, to Northwood's horn, they've been like putting in the hours, putting in the work, even the lands, right? They went like on a spring raid, tie raid from the Vegas tier 2 land, making a playoffs run into winning a land at St. Clair University. So like, it definitely is a crazy St. Clair College. My apologies, I'm fake. And it's Baker Swarm. I mean, again, it's their time to shine and say that, they are the up-and-coming squad to be feared in the collegiate space.
That they are. It's a reason for it, and a reason that we're going to be looking towards all eyes on them tonight for the grand finals here at NECC Valorant. It's been like I said, it's been a long semester. It's been a long road for them to get here. And obviously all eyes are going to be at that LAN event happening in San Antonio, Texas, May 9th through the 11th. So for both of these teams, right, they're eyeing that prize. They're eyeing that possibility to be able to go there, and the glory that obviously comes with being able to take the Division 1 Spring 2025 Grand Championship.
Yeah, and Northwood, right? They've already like punched their ticket to CVAL. They have more tournaments to play in the rest of the semester. I'm not sure where Baker Swarm lies in that division, like what tournaments they've played in the collegiate world elsewhere. They also have qualified, so could be rematches there too.
A lot of possibilities happening right now in the collegiate space, right? So it'll be a lot of different eyes that need to be looked on. And one of the reasons why we're seeing these two teams here right now, right? They forged themselves across a whole host of different conferences, of course, including the official CVAL as well. Just different ways that these teams are improving upon themselves to be able to take themselves to that next level. Of course, being able to take yourself to the next level definitely needs the food to back it up, Zobi. And that's why you need to fuel your game with Winzel's Farm Snack Sticks. Ooh, no mess, no distractions, just bold, protein-packed flavor to keep you locked in. Whether you're grinding ranked or leading the squad, Winzel's keeps you powered up. Grab a stick, stay in the game, crush the competition. Winzel's Farm, fuel for gamers, flavor for champions. And hey, we're going to be looking at one of those tonight.
And I'm just here trying to like hope that we get to see or get to. I want to try Winzel's meat sticks at some point, right?
Yeah.
I have yet to, but the ads always amazing to look at. And aside from that, Northwood versus Baker Swarm, both of them actually playing for the North Division of CVAL. I'm doing my research here as you talk about Winzel's meat, which is making me hungry. But I mean, coming from the same region as well just shows the strength of it and what we might get to see here in this grand finals.
Yeah, and we're getting some behind the scenes talking about what's going on right now with CVAL, right? Baker finishing 4th in North.
Exactly.
Maryville versus Northwood this weekend for the first seed spot. So, and we know Maryville is a crazy team. We got to look at one of their players this past weekend, in fact, Zobi with Giza. So it's looking at what these teams are going up against. It's looking at how these teams are playing, and a reminder that, yeah, Northwood and Baker have been through a lot. They continue to put themselves through a lot, and they're putting themselves right now in that best of 5 mentality. And when you do best of 5 maps, right, it expands your the awareness of what you have to do to get yourself towards that successful spot. Because yes, even if Baker loses out on the same 2 maps that they lost against similarly with Northwood, they still have another opportunity, right? They still have another chance to make that reverse sweep happen on the 3rd map, which would be insane to talk about here for the NECC Valorant Championships.
Yeah. And I mean, it literally, like, NECC has become a battle of the North as well, because it is quite literally like our top 3 here of CSP versus Baker versus Northwood has also unfolded, it seems like, in the North Division. So that's kind of funny to look at. But aside from that, let's go back to this series, this best of 5, right? So to recap our maps, right? Fracture, Haven, Lotus, Icebox, and Split. I have a memory like a steel trap as we look at them. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. And look at that. And
Zobi
Fracture,
goated.
the map number 1. Both of these teams have their own take on the meta. No Rays anymore, unless we see a last minute change. It's the Neon versus the Yoru that we expect to see. Now, what do you make of that?
So both of those agents occupy a specific niche, right, when it comes to how Fracture is played. Neon obviously loving the tighter corridors and the leaner size of the map to abuse their speed, and of course the fast lanes that help them get onto whichever side they want to push onto. Whereas Yoru needs to have that more cognizance in the back of their mind and more of that team play to make this agent work. I'm not opposed to either one of them, right? Both of these teams understand how to play these agents and what make them work on Fracture. And so I'm not anticipating any mistakes of major magnitudes here, Zobi. I'm expecting both of these duelists to know what they need to do in order to make their specific agent work.
Well, we've set what we expect. We've set the win conditions for both of these teams. And another thing to point out as well is that they kind of had this mentality going that they're starting on the same sides for most of the map pool. And if we make it to that tail end is when things will finally get changed up a little bit. So that could be really tone setting, especially for maps 2 and 3 when we get to those 3-site maps. But for now, you mentioned it. Smaller in terms of being 2 sites, but a big map. We're going to have to leverage a lot of information. And we get our agent select filled in. Look at that. No surprises here out of either squad. And we might get a Vix on Fracture. Woo!
Hey, there we go. Vix, Darkest foregoing the opportunity to play Fracture on map number 1. Oh, it's challengers. That's what it's all about. There you go. So, yeah.
It's Monday night.
Monday night. Gotta go do what you gotta do. But here for both of our teams, hopefully Vix, well aware of what they need to do on Fracture, well aware of how they need to play the Breach. But like you said, yeah, Zobi, this is just Fracture through and through. Minus the Rays. Insert Neon Yoru.
No, for sure. And, I mean, everything else being the same here, it's interesting because we do know that Northwood toys with the Vice for Benji. So I'm sticking with the Cypher, shows the strength of it. You're going to be running through the Neon trips. Neon's gonna be running through the Cypher trips, I should say, and we'll get to see how that affects things. But aside from that, getting ready to jump into the pistol round, and look at this, not fooling around. Baker Swarm, 5 strong here towards B main, and last thing you expect is your Cypher to be fighting out, but look, they're right behind Dip here.
Oh my goodness gracious, it's a battle of the guided salvos. Utility already used. Try to get ahead of it. Benji's gonna take small amount of chip damage, but no life lost just yet.
Ooh.
And see how far forward Dip is pushed up with the special delivery, but they're also gonna be caught inside of a fault line. And this is where the relay bolt is gonna come in handy. Ladder trying to put in the work. Benji to protect their teammate, but it's just not meant to be. Baker Swarm overwhelming Northwood Blue with the sheer numbers and util dump of the Sentry Vix by themselves. Filling in for Darkus on this map. Now the last remaining player is Tuzi, seen by the tripwire, leaving behind one player, blinded out by the flashbang. Here's the smoke that's gonna go up. Now what's gonna be on the other end of this is a 3-player nightmare. Try to take your ones, you're gonna grab one. That's all it's gonna be. Baker Swarm in an electric pistol round takes it.
While they have 3 players strong, each of them had less than 25 HP to go from the insane anchorage from Vix. And I mean, I think that pistol round summed up. First off, they don't even have all of their utility pieces, and we saw stun for stun, you know, damage for damage utility. It was all a matter of stalling them out of these choke points. And I mean, it was kind of a rip for a dip that they were so far invested that they couldn't get out. And you saw Benji trying to keep them alive while they're double stunned by a fault line and then a relay bolt. But fortunately, it's just not enough. So Eco round now for Northwood Blue. You can see Baker Swarm aware of what Nico could look like from Northwood. You know, maybe like a 5 arcade aggression, a quick B main take, and his ladder moves, taking the zip line back to the squad. And now that the time is starting to tick away, now that they've kind of superseded this pressure that may have mounted for Nico, they're gonna go for the actual side exit.
Yeah, small fault line. That's really all that's gonna be happening here. Rice balling. Positive with the rest of the squad at arcade. A lot of noise being made, but Northwood Blue not taking the bait just yet.
Oh, no.
Waiting to make the rotation for someone to happen over here, but oh, Ferbsa didn't look up. The call out had to have been made there, so Ferbsa hacking behind a little bit on the call outs. Northwood Blue down to the final 2 players. Vix gonna make their way back up to heaven. Still just that classic, right? And you're not gonna waste too much of that extra pieces of util. Adams is gonna slightly slide up, but the ghost have that little bit of extra firepower towards it. And again, Tuzi has to walk through a smoke to their death. Baker Swarm flawlessly takes the anti-ego.
And I gotta comment on Ferbza for his honor's sake. He was 100% playing the trigger to split angle. He wanted both of those players to not clear the corner, jump out, and get both of them, and that's why we saw Tuzi swinging, just to distract from the fact that Ferbza was there. But aside from that, I really liked it. Even the B take there from Baker Swarm, right? You kind of identified Vix's side off the fault line investment, and they send in Ladder Moves, who has the Ghost. It's like the sacrificial lamb, since they're the one that doesn't have a weapon to give away on the second round buy-up, and they still win the duel. So they keep it flawless, they buy up the additional weapon, and this is a fearsome bonus round, so this is scary.
Wow! Somehow Demon gets into sand after being targeted by 3 players and survives with 1 before finally being brought to heel by Vix. Eyes on drop, can't let Ladder Moves get away with it, and they don't. Vix flicks back over, lands their shot, removes this pesky Cypher off the map. And for poor Baker Swarm, right, they flawlessly walk through the anti-eco, but power not quite backing it up. Still on the high ground, Rice balling. Gonna be able to take their shots across the way to Ferbsa. Folks are going to come down, but still a minute to work with here for Baker Swarm. The numbers are evened out. Same can't be said quite so for the HP, but be surprised how Baker Swarm going to take the rest of this round.
Ooh, Vix could go huge here. Work is spell disaster, and it's the former. 2 kills on for the ace now. 5 bullets left, and they pull out the stun at the last second, giving now Rice Ball an opportunity. Still plenty of time to work with. A gun with more ammo recovered. The difficulty here is, look, Northwood Blue, the buddy system employed, just waiting, calling the bluff on the rotation from Rice Bowling. They should be in place to counter anything that's attempted here.
Yeah, right. 1 ult orb away from the Armageddon. Guided salvo locked in, but that high-low is going to be nasty to try and deal with. The second they peek their head out, Tuzi is going to smack it right down. Northwood Blue is their denial of the bonus.
And we're starting to see kind of what, again, these slightly different compositions bring to the table, right? The Neon, a little bit faster of an initiation, right? Gets ahead of any of that kind of A main fight action they're trying to take, right? Ferbs gets caught out, has to gate crash, and Vix is the one to left to clean up the mess, and they do very, very well with those 4 kills. And I mean, refighting there beautifully as they're maybe feigning a rotation out of main. It's great. And Rice Balling able to, again, get those refrags, get that Armageddon now, gives Baker Swarm the opportunity now that weapons are fully in hand and not a strengthened bonus. They go for a more concrete, the exec, trying to challenge the Cypher's domain.
Yep, stealth drone gets a little further. Doesn't detect anyone or suppress anyone either. Knows, of course, one player on the side, but you got to be so careful of the Cypher utility that has been set up. Ladder moves could get a timing onto Benji, but they look behind them just for the second. The guided salvo is going to force them inside of tunnel, and you're hearing a lot of players coming in their direction. Didn't get behind the wall in time. That's Benji grabbing first blood against their mirror. Still, though, the rest of Baker Swarm is going to live up to their name. Swarm on site, but with Nami going down, there goes the spike along with it. Yeah, Ferbza is casually dancing around. Fate's going to have to take it back into their own hands, but Dip, the knife in the back. Ice ball and the last one standing again. This time, instead of a 1v2, it's a 1v3. Flick back over towards Kitchen, but guess what? Another one that you had to deal with. Numbers advantage working out here for Northwood Blue to tie things up.
And I think that round went wrong for 2 major reasons for Baker Swarm. Things they've been good at finally didn't work out for them. For example, ladder moves, right? They've been very slippery, right? As soon as they recognize pressure, they get out and they survive. That round, they didn't. And then there was a questionable mid-round call as well. Ladder moves, they say 3 players be main. And because Baker Swarm had heaven control, had arcade control, they decided, okay, let's continue this B exec. But by that time, they're already surrounded. The players from A have already rotated Jenny and Canteen. And they just didn't altogether fight those players main, and they got fragmented, picked off one after another. So tied 2-2, Baker Swarm still sitting on a budding trove of ultimates here. Weapons kind of scattered, right? You have the Sheriff for your breach, but then you have the Vandal here in Demon's hands. And I mean, that doesn't give them the most confidence, the strength to fight through this Sky Smoke A main.
No, it doesn't. And you can feel the difference in tempo, the difference in pace that's happening right now for Baker Swarm. It's all about slow goings on this exec, but Northwood Blue still has an idea of where they want to lean their players. Vix set up with a fault line, contact play when the door opens. You're gonna have a swing, immediate swing out from Tuesday, right? Here's one trade for another. But the numbers, far too much for Tuesday to try to deal with, even with the Phantom in their hand. So Vix has to give up heaven control just to make sure that they don't fall from the rest of the players at Sands.
And this was nice. I was still kind of like glancing over towards ladder moves to see what impact they would have on alert towards B. But again, even despite that setup, it's just this feigned aggression doesn't find kills. And when you reaggress, you don't have the same utility pieces to win a site, to overwhelm Dip. And this is the result that your lurking Sentinel ladder moves is left for a 4 kill to clutch out the round, and only a ghost in hand to do so.
4 ladder moves. Gotta figure out what to do in 1v4. Try to go for one of those fancy weapons left behind by one of their teammates, squad mates, but yeah, you're running out of time, you're running out of avenues to work with here, so just take your chance to see what you can get away with. Edge closer towards the side eventually. Guided salvos launch in. Vix is going to be the final nail in the coffin for this round. Against Baker Swarm, Northwood Blue takes the lead.
And I mean, like I said, early round for Baker Swarm, I've really liked what it looks like. I like the initial mindset there. I mean, they almost, like you said, won sand control, but again, the disengage, cutting of noise, and then the fact that they re-hit, it's clear Northwood is never falling for these shenanigans. They're anchoring until they have any other reason to believe something else is happening on the minimap. But look at this. Dip, Armageddon already out. What are they planning to do here from the get-go? And it looks like it's an aggressive arcade take. The ladder moves have none of that. This is going to cue the speed up as well towards A, which also feels intentional, right? You put your Cypher here. You put Benji here for the first time.
Yeah, exactly, too, right? You see all of the utility set up there. How fast that rotation is off the back of the stim beacon. Not even a stim beacon. They still have that. So the rotation just comes in quick and clean. An aftershock that stalls out the push onto the site. And even if they did go into there, they still had to worry about a possibility of a tripwire that they may not even know anything of. Now we're seeing a lot of sand occupation from Baker Swarm. Riceballin still has to make these fights work. And doing just that. Oh my goodness gracious. right into the special delivery. Tuesday needs to put up a smoke in time. The rest of Northwood Blue popping off. Tuesday finally makes their presence known in a phenomenal way. Rice balling over at Sands. Special delivery forces him out right into the crosshairs of Dip. Now down to the final player. Ladder Move's gonna put the camera up, but logic dictates, right? The Cypher has to be here somewhere. Benji doesn't even care. It's all just about drawing the crosshair away for Dip to finish it off. Northwood Blue making it look easy.
Ooh. Baker Swarm again. Looks good in the early round, and then it starts crumbling. I liked the Sands control, but then the conversion, namely Dip with, or sorry, Benji, I should say, with their Neural Theft, they let that pop, and that kind of facilitates guides so that I think it was Brimstone on site was more confident. Tuesday was like, I can take these fights. I'm not biting off more than I can chew. Challenging, you know, the Tejo, challenging the opposing Brimstone over towards Sand. All of that worked really, really well for this squad, and I think that's what Dumbbell is trying to talk about here. He's okay, we're setting ourselves up well, but then the follow-through, the final execution is breaking down. So why?
Yeah, why? Something not quite lining up in Baker Swarm's mind. Hopefully this timeout will give them the adaptation they need. It's a lot of the issues that you've been bringing up, right, Zobi? With the mid-round calling going into the later rounds, they have that phenomenal early round start that just tapers off as time goes on. And Northwood Blue, just the map control that they exert on Fracture is next level. Any form of contact, the entire team is already there. And if they have any hints or whiffs that a site isn't being hit, they just know they have that at the back of their mind. So yeah, timeout now coming to a close here. Hopefully Baker Swarm can figure out what to do with a bevy of these ultimates as well. Especially when you look at Fate being one off in their Rolling Thunder. This could be an explosive ultimate round.
And I think maybe they're trying to, I was going to say, I couldn't tell what was happening there for a sec. You know, your players are still spawn, your Neon's diving in alone. They're lucky nobody was there to try and fight over towards Dish, but they've gotten that control nonetheless. They have a little bit more developed of a lurk play, right? Ladder moves alone, a main. Also solo, but this is something that Northwood's been really good at, I was going to say, is getting ladder moves out of the picture.
Yeah, silver linings though, right? All across the board. Even with this lighter buy, Baker Swarm is capitalizing on picks across all sides of the map. And sure, ladder moves may have fallen, but they did grab Burbs on the way out. So here's the Armageddon. Try to stall out for time. Try to get the spike planted. It's really all you're looking for here. Demon deposited it inside of the smoke with a stinger. Has to be very careful what happens on the other side of this. Pops the overdrive to go in. Dip, concussed out, looks over behind them. Rice Ball and a Demon with that Sheriff. Now down to the final player. Northwood Blue finally stalled out on the back of a Baker Swarm timeout. Vig's the last player standing. It's not much they can work with here either, right? No Aftershock, no Fault Line. A couple of flashbangs, but really when you're in a 1v4 and a Baker Swarm that gets weapons on their side, imagine that. Poor Vix is just, man, time to get out of there.
Yeah. I mean, that was a beautiful cleanup from Baker Swarm, maybe identifying again some of the tendencies of Northwood. The only real change there in my mind was, again, we saw Rice Ballin on a kind of secondary lurk play, right? So you had Pressure A main, you had a Cypher A, you're like pretty convinced that they're all going to be A at that point. And Rice Ballin was able to catch out a player. I want to say it was Tuesday, just not, or it wasn't Tuesday. They catch out a player, not really watching their back over towards Canteen, and that's what opens up the B take, triggers the Armageddon take. It triggers then Demon to be, like you mentioned, deposit it up and they scale off their overdrive. That's how you utilize the ultimates to convert Nico around. Like, take notes, record the VOD,
yeah, record
and go
the
watch
VODs.
it back. But it's kind of repaired their economy for the time being versus I was questioning the save a little bit because Vix, they had the money, I'm not going to lie, but it's going to supplement things like an operator purchase. And we'll get to see if now Northwood will make similar mistakes because, yeah, look at this, ladder moves. Again, they changed it. It's not a solo Sentinel, it's a duo endeavor.
Yeah, Ferbs, all eyes on A main, ready to get out at a moment's notice with that gate crash. Here we're seeing a return of a guided salvo, but finally, Baker Swarm gonna make their moves. I feel sorry for you, Fade. No, I don't! Ferbs are misses! Now they need to get the heck out of there. Fault Line not gonna catch them, but another opportunity. This time, though, they're playing it smart. Ferbs is gonna dip inside of another dimension and out through heaven. Vix makes their swing. Fate has to trade out immediately, though. As we get the orbital strike coming in, Ferbs rips out with the Shorty tries to pick up the Phantom, take their fight against Nami, but they're going to lose that one here. It's the 3v3 with Rice Ball and Fallen. The numbers advantage to Northwood Blue.
Ooh, nice little aggressive play. Patch up the holes that the operator shots missing will leave. All it takes is an orbital strike and a dimensional drift. And, I mean, the fact that, again, they used a dimensional drift to identify that the orbital strike had splintered those players and they find the opening kill. First, I would have gotten the second, but that Phantom they picked up had no bullets. At least not enough to get the job done. And speaking of getting the job done, Nami winning the 1v1 here means it's equated back to a 2-on-2, and they have the ult advantage here. And they're going to have the B site unless Dip and Tuzi can run interference on Nami. They almost did.
Very close. 1v1. Brim v Brim. Susie sets it up with the volley and flicks right over to the head of Nami. I just gotta wait for the flames to dissipate and get the spike defused.
That was, again, quick rotation, acknowledgement from Northwood that they recovered the spike. We're heading towards B. Didn't seem like they recognized the fact that the Cypher maybe had been on the arcade side. It cleared all the way through Evan, but yeah, buddy system prevails. They swing out of smoke together, they take the site, fight together. The trades and the heroics come through to secure a 5th on the side of Northwood Blue. But Baker Swarm, they're the ones with the ults here. They still have a buy as well. This is going to be a pretty pivotal round to confirm if Northwood Blue is going to run away with their defense half, or if Baker Swarm can continue to keep things close at it. It had been after they broke that 4-round streak from Northwood.
They just need to string them together, right? They just need to get that consistency going. And still a decent selection of ultimates to make these happen. Ferbsa continues to push the envelope time and time again, occupying all of this space. This is what we expect from our Yoru players, and this is what you need on Fracture too, right? That one aggressive player who's fine with taking the space and who's confident in being able to take these fights. And if there's ever that player, it's Ferbsa. Here it is though, Stealth Drone. Not quite able to break it, but gonna pop in the clone themselves. Gonna be suppressed now, not gonna be able to use the gate crash to safety, but still gonna try and take their ones. Unfortunately, sliding in is Demon, distracted by another body. Ferbs is gonna miss their shots. Baker Swarm, instead of trying to push into this though, look at how free they are towards the B site. They drew enough of the players away, and again, it's about realizing those tendencies, Obi.
And I do like this. Again, finally a good late round call, but you're also fighting into Benji's site, right? So it might seem a lot simpler, a lot easier to break through than you're hoping for, especially if Benji can find this frag on a ladder moves and their entire focus can be towards B. But look at that. The Sun! I'm surprised ladder moves isn't scaling up faster. In fact, this is just now allowing the rotation to come through, allows the Armageddon counter to come through. Oh, it's getting dicey!
Wow, okay. That could have been close. Oh, but ladder moves doesn't realize where Vix is. They look at the camera, but it doesn't even matter if Vix was the one to do it because Dip has the headshot. Fortunately for Vix, there is no team. It's just him. A 1v4. They do have a fault line. They do still have their 2 flashbangs. That's all they have to work with. It's isolating the ones now at this point. But I don't imagine Baker Swarm's going to be given that either. Look, 2 in heaven. 2 towards kitchen. Nigh impossible odds for even the best of players, but he's going to try and make it work instead of saving the weapon this time. They want to fight, but now they've decided better against that. Now it's time to go.
Vix, second time having to save there again in unwinnable scenarios, but Baker Swarm, I mean, we talked about it. The pivot was good. They overwhelmed the Cypher despite all the odds, right? And Armageddon, guided salvos, forcing them into Benji's crosshair. Like, that should have been a Benji moment. But the fact that, again, the mechanics from this team shine through in that event. They shut down what was a really nice planned strategy from Northwood, minus the fact that, again, it placed Benji at the helm, right? The rest of the players weren't quite there on the rotation to site to be able to react off of it either. But I think Baker Swarm, I want to say, they've gotten bigger bang for their buck in terms of the ultimate investment, minus Northwood Blue's one round where the orbital strike dimensional drift kind of set them up for good success. And now, talked about it, that was the round to determine if things are close or if one team pulls ahead, because Northwood Blue, they're broke. Baker Swarm still has ults, they have weapons. This should theoretically be a 5-5 unless Vix and Ferbsa do some eco magic here. The trap sprung for its dish, for drop.
Yeah, they're waiting patiently. Here it is, finally ready to go. Back and forth, but Ferbsa, that's a trap of Baker Swarm's own making. Catches the duelist out yet again. Unable to gate crash. Unable to do much here. Dip still has the guy to sell, but they hear the stealth drone coming in their direction. But now a neural theft opens up the map. It opens up the configuration. And that's where they say, yeah, okay. All of them are hovering in mid towards this A. We try to get over back to B as fast as we can. And as long as we do things like that, as long as Rice Ballin is winning theirs, Baker Swarm should be seeing an easy B site.
Oh, this is a little ambitious, I was to say, from Rice Ball. And if they decide to swing through the sky smoke, right? Vandal falling into the wrong hands of a player like Benji could be lethal, even in a 3v5, so they fall off. They're gonna play Bodyguard in the Brimstone, who has the orbital strike, just in case.
Nice.
At this point. Rice Ball wants the ace at this point, right? You gotta try.
Oh yeah, you're feeling it. You're feeling it! Wait a minute! Rice Ballin! Got how ammo works for a second. He's gonna be able to pick it up. No more A's, but maybe a 4K? Nah, Tuesday says no. But this is brilliant from Baker Swarm. To be able to take this round, this almost near flawless flashing as they did, to bring them to a tied map, 5-5.
Yeah, shut out any thrifty possibilities there from Northwood. And Dip, I will say, there was like an ounce of hesitation between, okay, am I falling back or am I fighting forward? Like, they know I'm the only one here on B. You can hear them stampeding through arcade. And they looked like they were to fall back, and then they took the dive past the incendiary, and I wish they had committed one way or the other because they got punished as a result. And, I mean, rifles in hand, the shield situation's a little sparse, which makes me nervous for Northwood to get a 6th on the round. But look at this, the same trap strong, but with Dip at their side in addition. They don't want Ferbza getting first blood in, but it's Ferbza again! There's so much utility!
So much utility! Ferbza, finally! If it didn't work at first, try again! The sands run red with the blood of Northwood Blue's enemy! But Nami! Unreal, unbelievable! The success they just found! It was 3 players taken out by Northwood. Nami's just put it back into contention. If Ladder Moves can do something here, they have to beat Vix. They have to get this headshot, and they don't. Now it's all on the shoulders of Nami. Either be crushed by the weight or to rise above all expectations.
And that was my kind of realization there. That was a mirror of the last time this evolved into a 2v2, right? But it was Nami finds the opening kill, right? Over towards B main, and they get the rest gambled correctly, that the other 2 are on the opposing site. So the fact that they did lose it puts Nami in this 1v3 I should say, 1v1 against Benji for now. Oh my goodness, if they go A here after finding a pick on the Tuzi? Oh, yeah. Footsteps.
Yeah, they're playing it smart though, right? Oh my god, Nami! But there's no choice, right? They have to plant the spike. They're gonna put the molly down to try and protect themselves to let that happen, but Tuzi's just gonna scale back, right? They're gonna play and wait for the breach coming up through B main. Safely planted. Go back over to the other side. Here comes the molly. Looking behind them. Vix is unreal. Split-second shots to be able to capitalize. Despite the heroic efforts of Nami, Northwood Blue is going to regain their lead.
And Nami played that to strategic perfection, right? But again, FPS at the end of the day, you miss your shots there, you lose the fight against Vix, and this is Northwood Blue sitting at a 6th. I mean, you know you did a good job when you dislodge the Sentinel away from all of their utility, right? Their play fighting in the mid but not committing to the fight against Tuzi draws Benji out, and they get the frag as a result. Like, that was perfection and set them up for what could have been success, but ultimately, here we go again. Talked about finding that Vena consistency, not quite yet, but the 2 rounds do give them a buffer in terms of the economy to get a nice buy, a clean buy for this last round versus, again, it's Northwood, who despite their last round victory, again, it was messy, right? Only 2 players walking away. They don't have the full commitment to their economy, even on the last round.
And a gamble stack from Northwood Blue leaves Benji isolated to protect this B side by themselves. But again, if there's any player you want to protect the site, it's Benji. They're realizing where these trips are set up, and thankfully Benji not getting caught out by the stealth drone is going to play for that 5v5 retake. 3 players coming up through the flank though, Zobi. Laddermoose knows what's happening here, has to be careful.
Ooh, and Laddermoose again alone. We talked about it. Morgan was doing a good job dealing with it, but they are not alone this time, and they almost had the timing through the sky smoke. But look at this, it's Rice Balling playing around the orbital strike. Fade as well has slipped through the cracks, and it's all down to Tuzi. 1v3 and 6 HP.
My word, 6 HP. Oh my goodness. I thought they were about to get toasted to a crisp. Still get to live. However, living is. There's no choice, right? It's the final round of the half. They got to do something. Fortunately, something is Having to step into an Armageddon, having to survive a fate swing. It's a Baker Swarm comeback, I would say, on this half to bring us to 6-6.
Yeah, it looked like as soon as weapons, rifles truly came online, Northwood was starting to run away with things. But Baker Swarm, it was that timeout, right? They had a major reshuffle of player distribution, kind of shift in mentality as well, or the realization that Northwood was, in fact, kind of over-committing, over-rotating, because they thought only ladder moves was a singular lurk player. So when they diversified where they were playing from, how many angles they were playing from, Northwood just wasn't able to track them, call around it as efficiently, and this is the result, 6-6. Again, we talked about similar compositions. Northwood now on the attack with a Yoru at the tip of the spear. Well, look at this. It's gonna be an all-out brawl. 4v5 Clash and B main.
Oof. That's a close smoke from Tuesday to protect themselves. They really just want to pop out on the other side. It's crazy. It's all over the place. This Northwood Blue setting up a massacre on this site. Riceballer may be alive, but at what cost? Ooh, wait, dip back around. They might not be ready for this. No, they aren't. And the two players of Northwood are at death's door, Zobi. They could go in for another swing.
I love this, playing time, trying to wait for ladder moves to rotate over. But even baiting the low HP players back in, and you can see they're trying to put Dip at the forefront. Sacrifice and you finish the job. You get the trade, but Riceballing is still at flawless HP, but they've lost ladder moves.
It's good though, because again, look at Dip. Look at how close they are, and they get the guided salvo back. With how quickly that came about, Riceballing is playing this to perfection. Unreal movement, unreal plays, unreal clutch from Riceballing to get Baker Swarm the second pistol round of Fracture.
Wow. After a bloody battle outside of B main goes the way of Northwood Blue. The reactions, the kills. Baker Swarm stabilizes off of heroics from Riceballing. Both from the shots they landed to how intelligently they were playing, just baiting the players from Northwood Blue into these fights while they stalled out time. And I think it was ladder moves that got that chip damage you mentioned onto Dip, so that Riceballing could finish it out with the guided salvos, the swing. And that's again calling into question Northwood playing so divided. But look at this. Again, the reads here are insane. They're meeting exactly where Northwood is trying to fight.
It's the util dump of the century right now, but no one has died just yet. It's getting kind of close. Finally, though, Demon's going to meet their maker. Fate swinging in for another opportunity. That's a brilliant flashbang here. Vic's playing the timing correctly, but they're blind. Dami's going to come and support. What could have been a disaster here for Baker Swarm? Well, they turned it right back into the face of Northwood Blue.
Yeah. I mean, great trade attempts, but better weapons. And the sheer volume of players as well that Baker Swarm stacked that called around drop there. And it's Tuesday. Familiar situation, a familiar clutch position. 1v4, and the fact they left Spike and Spawn all this time means they were just looking for that, the kills, before they actually had a concrete plan of execution where they wanted to go. Tuesday. I mean, take what you can, right? Get some ult orbs, the cam. Probably heard it. Now it's spotted you out, and this should be easy. Ladder moves. Clean up.
Nice, clean, easy, right? Northwood Blue had the right strategy, and you mentioned at the beginning of the round too, the reads that each team has on each other. The util setup, the site take that they try to do inside of Dish, but Baker Swarm having that better firepower, and of course having that read with that firepower, even with Northwood Blue trying to meet them in these avenues and getting that first blood onto Demon, just wasn't enough to be able to convert anything from there either. So for Baker Swarm, phenomenal anti-eco, but now the bonus rests on their shoulders.
Let's see what happens when the call to fight is on the wrong part of the map, right? It's this massive sack of players coming in through arcade, but through the smoke? Yeah, this Guardian, talking about the bonus buy, it's putting in numbers. Finds the first, and Tuesday at least is able to stall out, start recognizing they did take B main. Pressure. This is... Can't be giving those ones away.
No, you can't be. Tuesday was on a warpath down in tunnels, but somehow Baker Swarm is still surviving. I love the stealth drone parkour that we get from Riceballing. Always a treat to watch. The spike was on B, but look at where we have Benji at, right? It's been on this A site. They have the camera here too. They've been clearing out. They've been waiting. They've been checking out and seeing if someone is going to be here. It has been. And by the way, when I say that camera, it's actually over there on the side of ladder moves, but the dearth of information denied by that, right? They're still checking it over and over, but there still has to be some indication of, hey, there's no one here.
And I think that's why as well, Benji communicated, okay, guys, we don't see the cam is clearly facing A main, doesn't have any information on dish or drops. That's why that's where they're coming from. I'm worried though.
Yeah,
you have to destroy the Cypher until it's gonna buy some time, and there's 3 on the flank. I mean, you've recognized it hopefully, but now the question becomes how many are coming from A main?
Oh my god, they're stalling it out again. That got his salvo all the way from spawn. They're running out of time zone, but you gotta plant.
You can wallbang there.
Just barely. You see them looking down too. Oh my god, rice balling. Whenever they need to make a difference for this map, they do it every single time, and ladder moves from behind. Tuesday was not ready for the Sands play. Northwood Blue tried to abuse as much of that time as they possibly could, but it's still a Baker Swarm victory. Zobi, what happened there?
I don't know. I mean, time definitely was a factor. We mentioned, okay, they've set the seeds of doubt. They set, Benji in a place to sprout, and ultimately just the speed and rotation through like spawn, or not even spawn, but through a bridge side, right? There, in addition to drop from the 2 players, Vix and Tuzi, it was a little mispaced. And then once you got on the side, I mentioned the delay that Cypher Utility was going to pose, but it was also the calling from Baker Swarm late round, being like, okay, let's group up, let's go A main. And Vix as well, planting in a wall position. That's a little rough, because then a player felt like they had to step forward and play bodyguard, and then they lost their life as well.
Now we're gonna try do something through arcade, but again, it's all about having to fight this utility, and already seen by the camera from ladder moves. Forbes is tagged by the spy cam dart. Finally gonna get rid of it inside of heaven, where yeah, you gotta try and use mini EV players. You go, look at this Armageddon though from Rice Ballin'. There's only one place that these 2 players can go, and it's gonna be on site. The smoke is gonna keep them safe for just a smidge longer, but Vix is not looking good. Torn to shreds, torn to pieces. Another smoke's gonna happen here, but now Northwood Blue is gonna try and meet them on the other side of this. Ladder moves his double kill though. It's gonna stop them from going any further than that. Now on the other side, choosing act out right into the crosshairs of Demon. And this is, Vix, right? It's 5 HP and a Spectre, but Fate looks right behind them and sends Vix packing and gives Baker Swarm the double digits.
I mean, first off, just impressive. A few rounds in, Armageddon's online, because before this round, Rice Ballin was 22-7. And in addition to that, I mean, I've got to agree, Northwood Blue, they looked lost there. Like, they had some good players in good positions, right? Like, Vix on the flank like that, clearly unexpected. If they had just waited a little bit longer instead of this fragmented re-engagement, even with suboptimal weapons, it could have been a lot, more of a fight for your thrifty attempt. But 4 rounds, going on 5, you lose this round, Baker Swarm is basically guaranteed a 12th because your economy is going to be back to Sheriffs and Stingers. I mean, Northwood Blue, silver lining. Look, you have the orbital strike. That can maybe help you the side take, but look at this. It's always these aggressive plays and the trades from Baker Swarm that are so clean.
And now they've protected the flank. A crash is going to be faked, but yeah, Baker Swarm just knows. Rice Ballin just knows. There's the guided salvo. And look at the double trip setup of this Cypher, of Ladder Moves' utility. A Rolling Thunder is going to go through, but it's off towards the site. Ladder Moves still gets to occupy the high ground drop, but they're still going to back away, play for the retake. And guess what? Nami has an orbital strike. You try to plan anything here, it's going to force bound to the open. Never mind, Firmster is being cooked to a crisp. And I had to do a flashbang over the top, but smokes are going to start dissipating here. And this is a way for Northwood Blue to punch, rather Baker Swarm to punch back onto the site, down to the ground. Firmster getting to these moments where they just look so lost. They're looking at drop, but Sands is completely uncontested.
Oh, and Tuzi, right? The player you wanted to have play from main, wanted to play his orbital strike, couldn't get outside, so they know the necessity to win this round, so they already let it rip. Deny the retake potential. Vix, you mentioned that Sand was never contested. They fight into it late, and it's perfect timing. Ladder Moves, whose trademark has been at finding insane impact off the site using their Sentinel setup, is forced to flee with 27 HP. Maybe get some exits here. Again, you know the economy's fragile for Northwood, but Tuzi's aware.
Yep.
Should be quick work. Yep.
To the wall. Not too bad though for Baker Swarm, right? They still have a decent economy coming off the back of 4 rounds won, and on top of that, usually pretty flawlessly as well. So yeah, we're seeing them in decent shape. They're not going to be hurting too bad. Northwood Blue, on the other hand, A desperate round needed to right the ship. Reminder, this is being the first round they've gotten in this second half. So hopefully they've been able to crack the code of the Baker Swarm defense, able to start stringing them together back to back.
That was our big question, right? This was a 13-9 victory for Northwood last time these two teams fought. So Baker Swarm has already righted the wrongs, corrected history, and are looking now to lock it in. Herbsa, I was going to mention the ults are starting to come online for Northwood, but they don't even need them. Oh my goodness. Their own salvos stop Herbsa, but Div salvos finish off Nami anyways. But they've taken so long in this heaven take that all of the players for Baker Swarm are already here.
I think Northwood Blue has finally figured out if you just put the pedal to the metal, that makes things so much easier than letting Baker Swarm manipulate the site the way that they want to. Yeah, over on the other side, here's the Cypher Cage to try and get them onto the site. Vic's going to be cleared through Arcade, but not before moving ladder moves off the map. Now up into heaven, Div's going to make a swing, just spray it down. Northwood Blue looking back in fighting form.
And I agree, Sam, that Northwood Blue definitely has that, like, okay, if we drive the speed up, it makes it harder for Baker Swarm to respond. But also, Baker Swarm, they're not as, I would say, colorful in the retake attempts, right? The whole thing with what they've been doing is when they realize, okay, they're heading a site that we didn't aggress in that part of the map, they follow through, they flank, they kind of have a multi-pronged retake. That time it was everybody through spawn. The Neuro Theft saw that. And I did like the late call, right? Utilize ladder moves cage to clear out Arcade, but there was only one player. And you couldn't clear out Dip from heaven, so all of it fell apart. So not only does Northwood Blue get the round, they disrupt the economy, they have the Armageddon, and now they've learned how to fight against these aggressive plays.
Yep, you just hold your ground. Tommy, that's the second time a guided salvo has blown them up to Kingdom Come. Not the best of times here. Rise Ballin gonna show that clone who's boss. Hook goes up. Deny them the vision. Baker Swarm looking so much worse for wear. I mean, Rice, it's just Rice Ballin and ladder moves. All that's left to piece together something back. Realizing that, yeah, the economy's in rough shape. We can't lose our power weapons. We can't lose the Vandals we have. Early call to save.
I mean, a 5v2. Question mark is now, how far does Northwood go tracking them down? I think they've already caught wind that this is a save, or even just a spike gets planted, so. Going searching here. Ooh, the good read as well from the guided salvos. Flushes ladder moves down. You probably heard them drop. Now it's going to be probably multi-pronged, but the players divided. Doesn't matter, they're winning their ones.
All right, unfortunately for ladder moves, right? Door open behind them gives opportunity for Benji. But if you're going down, Rice Ballin is going down swinging. Oh, yeah. Listen, it's an ace now or nothing. Fortunately for them, it's going to be nothing. But, I mean, it's still not the worst case scenario that happened here.
Oh. And, ooh, this might be the dumbbell magical timeout. We saw how effectively it turned things around in the first half, and I wonder if Baker Swarm this time out is to address kind of what I mentioned. They're starting to simplify these retake attempts just a little bit. They're not, you know, clearing out a large portion of the map like they were doing previously with these aggressive plays. I mean, we talked about they were overwhelming players like Benji. They were kind of forcing Northwood to go towards their Cypher setups where they wanted them to go, where they were in a structured position to retake against it. So I think that's what they're talking about, is how can we pick things up and resume that sort of domination, that kind of hurdling of Northwood Blue.
Big questions abound here for Baker Swarm, but the last time they took a timeout, right, it worked for them. It gave them the next round. They may have lost that one, but then from that point on, it was 5 rounds in a row to bring us where we are at this point. It's Baker Swarm needing to figure out now how to correct the mistakes, how to stop the Northwood Blue speed. Of course, also where these ultimates are going to come in handy. So that lighter buy that they have online, Rice Ballin can afford to purchase up big time, the Hero Vandal in their hands. The rest of the squad is going to try and piecemeal together something. But hopefully something's going to happen now. Northwood Blue is just that one more round to go.
All right. Here we go. Talk about it. Fighting when you know where the players are. That's exactly what they do. They delay it slightly. They think the overtime is enough to punch through. But last time we saw this bloodied battle, it was Northwood that came out on top. So they need that extra edge. They need the Rolling Thunder.
Wait. Oh my gosh. It was so close, but not clearing out the corner of Ferbsa. Oh my word.
This is when you need replays to see how Ferbsa just got away with a criminal notion, a shutdown of Demon. Like, he was dragging every player on the side of Northwood to hell, and Ferbsa just steps forward the guiding light needed to tie things up at double digits for each side. I mean, that was a great defusal on the orbital strike as well. It kind of forced the players to fight forward, so that Ferbsa was cloaked a little bit, you know, in that little gap, but overall, it stands. We get to see them fight B main, and Northwood knows how to fight that.
Players here, right? Got the fault line ready to go. We got Demon. Hopefully gonna win this one. They are. Don't even need to do anything more than that. It's a fault line. It's a relay bolt. Them just backing away. Fate's feeling a little dicey with it too, but that's the kind of stuff, yeah, good call. Just get back out of there. Don't need to risk your life for anything more than that. To get rid of the stealth drone. Yeah, that's utility being sent in. Ferbs are gone. That's right. Your tip of the spear along with it. Northwood Blue still cautiously approaching towards this A site. Still making the decision to end up here.
Baker Swarm has tracked it to a T. This looks like, I was gonna say, maybe a fake out. Like, the fact that they flushed out utility and aren't following it up. Maybe that was like them like trying to sell a fake, but then they didn't actually leave, and nor did Baker Swarm. Now they'll re-hit. They have less utility. Take this space. They're just lucky that Baker Swarm's respecting the take, waiting to play their own situation here. But look, there's an Armageddon online. This postman, despite being a player down, is going to be pretty clean for Northwood.
I got it. Salvo those stalls it out. In 2, Benji was trying to go for the lurk flank at B. Denied that by the Cypher trips. Eventually, though, smokes are going to dissipate the Molly to try and stall out for as much time as they can. Benji's regrouped with the squad, so all 4 players here. Demon, they just know where they are, but the special delivery stops them from going any further than that. Now it's a back and forth affair with playing off the back of the Armageddon. Really, the only player who needs to survive this is going to be this Teiho. But it's Rice Ballin also with a Armageddon. Look at the wraparound from Drop. Rice Ballin needs to be ready for that. Dip, set, and ready to go with the Armageddon too. It needs to be used at the right moment. It's still going to be half. Rice Ballin trying to get ahead of the Armageddon, but they can't because of where the spike was planted. Northwood Blue. Wow. Phenomenal recovery to put them back in the lead.
It wasn't even necessarily the plant location. It was more the direction of the Armageddon, right? Flushing those players, forcing them deeper, like very deep into A main, all the way into the sight lines of, like we mentioned, Benji, who was trying to play for that late, like, B flank, was trying to play off site. If they had done it the other direction, you know, flush them, you know, back towards sand, back towards their spawn, or even deeper into sight, they wouldn't have had that same impact, and you would have just gotten it back on the spike immediately after, because we saw Rice Ball and sacrifice their life for half. So, I mean, this could be another fight, isn't it? Oh my goodness, towards Dish.
It is. Gotta play in this corner though, right? Aftershock is gonna pull you out. Guided salvo all around. Here's another case of the relay bolt. Demon's not blinded by the first flashbang. Now it's flash from Ferbsa. He's eventually going to blind them to help them land the shot on the Demon. Rice Ball and those still has the trade onto Benji. Where we do see the recovery back over towards site. It's a pick for a pick. Either side taking the advantage. Ladder moves though. Stinger at range like this, you're gonna have to pop off, buddy.
And unfortunately, only able to find a dink. Not finish the job here, so Ferbsa, Dimensional Drift's gonna make sure there's no funny business sticking around here towards the B site. But my concern is that the players are directly outside of main. So the fact that Ferbsa is going this deep to clear it out is everything. That entire trick of the trade demolished. And Ferbsa, a little early, but they're lucky to be alive.
Yeah, they had to have known that the timer was running out. Run down the Yoru. So those spike planted on site. Baker Swarm down in the numbers, spamming through the smoke. It's all close affairs, but just not enough to get rid of anyone from Northwood Blue. Rice Ballin still eager on the other side. Tuzi's going to set things ablaze on B main. That's Rice Ballin denied entry for a few seconds here. But like you said, Fate may have something massive. Has to be precise on the aim, and they are. But as long as Vix can stay alive, as long as Vix can use the Rolling Thunder, they need to set it up, but they know they're here. They need to watch out behind them, but taking their time just to... Oh, Nami, all right, you and the judge. Give me a break. Baker Swarm, it's 11-11. So I hope you're locked in for this best of 5.
No, I'm a college student like these players. I got homework due at midnight, and I don't think I'm getting to it, and I'm okay with that. Like, the level, like, it's 11-11, and I mean, I feel for Northwood there. That setup was perfect at first. Dip, right, was the one playing contact. They were looking towards arcade for, like, so long, and if they fall, then that would have been okay. We know choose the ass pivot, look behind you, get the frag, get the trade. But the fact they look away, and you're able to find both, like, that's what set them up to win that round. And I mean, utilize the Rolling Thunder as well just to try to lock in to get your 12. And now that's gone, which gives Baker Swarm an immense opportunity to even avoid overtime and maybe even get the 13-11.
All right. Northwood Blue looking to upset the pacing against Baker Swarm. Smokes are eventually going to come in, but this arcade push has been decisive every single time, especially with where they know how ladder move sets up their util. Unbelievable landing the shots onto Benji as they're just walking in. That's also where we're seeing that utility being used. Dami's gonna... Dip's been burned to a crisp. Northwood Blue making these minor missteps. Ursa getting finally the first blooded on the side of Northwood Blue, but yeah, it's just gone immediately. Had to go for the defuse of the spike. That's a phenomenal volley, right? Vix can't even go anywhere from there. They're gonna be slowed down by the fault line. Fate's gonna stick the defuse, run them down, get rid of them. Yeah, try to save as best you can, but yeah, then Baker Swarm's not gonna risk it either. They don't wanna, eventually they are, just had to be careful. Yeah, there we go. Baker Swarm, match point.
And I mean, Dumble, you gotta tell me what you're talking about in these timeouts. 5 rounds in a row after they took it. Like, I mean, like, it was like, it didn't work, but then suddenly whoever's calling for Baker Swarm found their groove, their footing. Like, 12-11, I mentioned it. They had a chance to put this to bed before overtime. And the economy, I mean, 1 Light Shield, a Guardian here for the side of Northwood Blue, only a Neural Theft to work with. It feels like they're like, okay, if we are losing control for Baker Swarm, let's just play a well-constructed retake. We talked about how they were kind of flooding back in and Northwood was doing a good job interrupting that prior. All of a sudden, they kind of made me eat my words about wanting a multi-pronged retake, and they're just like, let's just get succinct utility and go for it. And that's what they've been able to do. But look at this. A slower pacing from Northwood, maybe the nerves of this, you know, map slipping away. Even the Tejo, maybe to sell a B-fake, but look at how deep the players from Baker Swarm are. And they have a trap ready to go, right? The Rolling Thunder. Here. In place immediately when contact is made.
Yeah, and yeah, there's no risk happening here, except maybe a little bit from Fate, right? Oh my god, there's no way they want to do it like this. But because you were fault-lined, Fate couldn't get away from the 2Z orbital strike. So Northwood Blue may have just put things into overtime territory.
And that's the best case you could ask for if you were going to die, getting the Rolling Thunder off first, forcing them, funneling them towards the Cypher site. Ami as well. Here, Generator can try to punish off of the utility. Maybe even deny the plant with an incendiary. This is crazy. Phantom shots through the smoke.
There it is.
That's a neural theft too. Maybe if you can get it off when the sky smoke fades.
Shit, maybe it's gonna have to be difficult.
Vix.
Surely someone has. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Vix is right there too. Wait a minute. It's pivotal for Rice Ballin to hold on to this pinch, right? And Vix is so stalwart about looking at what's happening towards arcade. Demon tried to use the fast lane, but it's kind of just settling it up for the funnel. A 1v4. Listen, Rice Ballin, we know you got heroics, we know your score line, we know your stat line. A 1v4? Herbza isn't even gonna let you see the rest of the team. Map number 1 of Fracture goes into overtime.
And this is why these are the best of Division 1 NECC. You know, again, history erased. Wipe the slate clean and forget about it. See, these 2 teams are bringing to the table now. It's the best team on the day of, and right now they're going toe to toe, blow for blow. And I mean, even looking at that last round, right? Vix, we talked about it. You know, the player that hasn't played Fracture with this team too much during the season. Figuring out their vibe, figuring out they need to survive. And the reposition there was perfect to close out the last round. It was a distraction, like you're worried about where is Vix. Are they also pulling Generator? And Benji just capitalizes off of that. So post plants, if they can get there for Northwood and get into a nice position, can get clean. But it's Baker Swarm and the immediacy of the retake. So next half is where things get crazy. To me, it's like who can win their, you know, attack half first, and see if Baker can do it now.
It's a fortunate stealth drone to only go as far as it did. Really wasn't able to clear out much of sight. You saw the tripwire, but that's really all you're expending for that. Herbsa's clone gonna get caught inside of, yeah, you guessed it, the trip behind them. It's finally gonna start moving ahead here for Northwood Blue, but or rather Baker Swarm, but they're cautious all over the side. They're farming ult orbs. They're wanting to build towards, I believe it was the Rolling Thunder.
Herbsa, again, this deep kind of one-man mission position, right? We're starting to rotate over, so maybe we'll get some support here late, but they really do have to just win this fight, hopefully against ladder moves. They also were expecting maybe a heavy dish drop take, which Baker Swarm has leaned towards time and time again. So the fact that they're about to 4-man into a main here, they thought they had the timing, so the dry swing is not what you need against Herbsa.
No, it really isn't. And you've lost 2 players just to take down this Yoru, who was so ready to keep fighting it out if they needed to. Meanwhile, Fate's gone. Your initiator out of there. Now you just gotta walk right into the aftershock. Northwood Blue only losing out Herbsa. Those are the kind of odds you want in your overtime.
Wow.
Ooh, timeout.
And yeah, dumbbell in these timeouts. You can see Northwood, even when they were looking lost, never took any. But Baker Swarm, I mean, I kind of said whoever could win their attack half was gonna be favored, and Northwood's in that position if they figure out their attack. If they get into their really good post plan, a succinct one like we saw that sent them into overtime here, it could get messy for Baker Swarm. And I mentioned to me, right, I was like, okay, it's really that second map of Haven that I need Baker Swarm to win if they want to win this best of 5. But if Northwood Blue gets the ball rolling, if they go into a confident map pick like Haven as well, there is a universe, despite this being an overtime, where we get to trend towards a Northwood 3-0. But don't even want to will that into existence here, because these timeouts did wonders in the first half, can't do it again.
I mean, it's match point for Northwood Blue. Baker Swarm, I want to let that happen, right? I'm going to bring us into that double overtime. It's just a tepid pace, though, from Baker Swarm that we know that they can really abuse. Just didn't work for them. Now Northwood Blue getting kind of an idea of how the defensive half works for Baker Swarm. After having done so many rounds of it, right? It's fresh and recent in their mind, especially, to understand what they need to do here to win. Hopefully they take those lessons to heart. Hopefully they remember the tempo that works for them. Uses it to great success.
And I do feel like the B side has been a little bit closer ballpark for Northwood Blue, so ending here would be good, but
Yikes.
That's not good. You've lost your smokes from the get-go.
Yeah, Tuzi, expecting the smoke to keep away anybody from actually being that far up? But Ladder Moves completely disrespects that notion and lands a headshot. It's disastrous, but it's still going to be Northwood Blue to push onto the side. They're no strangers to having to win out the 4v5s. Oh, and Ladder Moves
4v4s.
again is Dip. Dipping these guided salvos in combination with the fault line, and then you just start wreaking havoc on any players coming through CT. Dip is looking to put this map out to pasture. The possibility happens unless Nami does something like that.
As Vix dropped, but you talked about Dip there in this aggressive generator position. Could get the timing on a Demon as well. You saw the Herbsa flash come through. It doesn't connect, and now they're forced out by an aftershock. Dealt with, and the numbers have slipped back in the favor of Baker Swarm.
They just had to be careful of Heaven. They cannot get caught inside of the tripwire, and they don't. Here it is, though, the flash. They hear one being broken. Benji is indomitable. Northwood Blue had to do it in overtime, but map number 1 of Fracture is theirs, 14-12.
6-6 half into an overtime, into, again, 2 rounds. And I feel like that's the Northwood special, right? We talked about it. Maps have been close. Talked about Lotus last time these two teams met being 15-13, right? It gets to overtime. You close it out pretty seamlessly, but, I mean, it really did feel like at the times it required heroics out of Northwood to get the job done versus the calling was more concrete and clean, I'd say, out of Baker Swarm. And I mean, that's okay. That's why some of these players are where they are. I mean, look, it wasn't like the top and the bottom were like around where the kills apart for the side of Northwood versus Baker Swarm. I mean, Rice Ball, and they were balling on the Tejo.
And I think too, right, when we look at the assist as well, we're not getting the full story of how Baker Swarm was giving each other the successful moments. It just feels like those time periods where Northwood Blue was able to capitalize more on just that raw mechanical skill that we know that this team is capable of. It really carried them throughout the rest of the rounds. But it's only map number 1, Zobi. We still have, at the very least, 2 more to go. A possibility of all 5 here. If Baker Swarm is going to make that happen, we'll have to find out after this break.
You knock on wood so they go to heaven. It's like a lucky. Hey, get the stick.
Yeah,
Hey, do you the meat stick?
yeah, I got it.
Hey, just hold tight for a second. They're moving the casket. Just hold tight.
Yeah, that's no worries. I got it.
Oh, what an awesome day for a pump, dude.
Yeah, I gotta take it easy. Doc says if I exert myself, I will die.
You overexert yourself, you will die.
I tell you what, you finish the workout, all these could be yours. That looks good. A little bit of honey ham for the ham. Get after it, and that's your get after it, and that's your treat. Hey, do the exercise, do the work, then you get the reward. That's how this works, man. You gotta give it max effort, maximum effort. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Big hams. Make it work, those hams. Work 'em. Putting in the work. Yeah, baby. Yes. Dude, this is a spicy workout. Gotta make it worth it. Building the beef and bringing home the bacon, baby. I'm loving it. Teriyaki is just about within your reach. Come on, get you some. Come on. Ooh, ooh. Maximum effort. Maximum effort. You're there. You're almost there.
That's so worth it.
What do you make of this up here? Just showed up in the yard a couple days ago.
Dog been digging in here?
I don't think so, dude. That goes way down in there. Seriously, did you just lose your meat stick?
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's something in there, dude. Just leave it.
Are you kidding me?
We'll just head to the house. Just leave it.
Hell with that.
Oh, yeah, there's something in there.
Want one?
Thank you.
It was worth it.
Oh, man, this is incredible.
Wow.
Huh?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Hey, man, grab me a meat stick. I think I can reach it if I just a little more. Just let me go a little. I can't. Just a little more. I almost got it. Careful! Oh, God. No. Come on, just reach. Reach. Just grab my hand. I can't hold it. Grab my hand.
Give me the meat stick. This other hand's closer. The one with the stick is. Oh. What am I supposed to say?
It doesn't matter. He's dead. He ain't listening to you anyway.
I'm hungry.
No. Put it away. I can't watch it. Oh, crap. Just reach in. You gotta pull it. Just grab it. Just take it out of his hand. What do you mean you can't?
Ooh, an explosive map 1 to start things off right here for the NECC Valorant Spring 2025 Grand Finals. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Sam Talks. Joining me yet again is Zobi. Like I said, Zobi, it was explosive, right? Fracture going into overtime. It was a crazy sight to behold, but it still came out to that Northwood blue victory at the end of Fracture.
And I mean, I was mentioning, the rewriting of history, improvements after the first time facing off against this team on this map. I mean, they did better. Last time was a 13-9, but Haven is new territory and a map played probably the most, I would say, for a team like Northwood versus played kind of here and there with how big the map pool has been for Baker Swarm throughout their playoffs journey. So that shakes me a little bit. I mean, it is a best of 5, so even if you lose this, the reverse sweep potential is there, but I will also say that if we see the same composition from Baker Swarm that we've seen beforehand, it's also a confidence comp. It is that ISO Yoru. So if you lost map 1 in that overtime fashion, when you came back multiple times after streaks by Northwood, it can definitely wear you down. And that worries me now coming into Haven.
Yeah, both of these teams, right, gave us their all, obviously, with what we saw. And I mean, when I mentioned the word explosive twice now. Tejo's both occupying the top spot. So this season, this is just each side, each team operating at peak efficiency to be able to get themselves that LAN spot at NECC San Antonio 2025. But, with all of this, best of 5 series, they're long, they're crazy, and they need time. You need fuel. Fuel a game with Winzel's Farm Snack 6. No mess, no distractions. Full protein-packed flavor to keep you locked in. Whether you're grinding ranked or leading the squad, Winzel's keeps you powered up. Grab a stick, stay in the game, crush the competition. Winzel's Farm, fuel for gamers, flavor for champions. And this is a nice flavor we're getting out of Haven now, Zobi.
I mean, there's a few things to point out. Number one, you mentioned, right? These teams are busy. They have a lot going on. Well, so did Darkest and so did possibly their coach, right? They play for VCL. They play as a coach for Game Changers, right? So now the full squad is here. Maybe that's why we didn't see any timeouts for Northwood. And I was joking about Vix getting subbed out, but they do. It's Darkest stepping back in here on the deadlock here. So, I mean, I'm curious to see how that's going to go for this squad. They're probably warm after any scrims they might have played over with Core, but that only shakes things up more. Like, maybe now they're in full strength and we'll get to see what it looks like. I mean, look at this already confidence. Maybe swinging, maybe a net combo here out towards mid.
Maybe not. Is Northwood blue on the defense. Baker Swarm giving us a look at the attack on Haven. These folks are going to deny Benji. Barrage sight lines, but here it is. They hearing the ISO shield pop up. Trying to draw the grab net. You see Darkest ready to go with it, but instead of going inside of it, Baker Swarm is just going to back away from Northwood Blue. Dip sees more opportunities abounding in their direction. I'm just hang out and chill out.
We didn't even get to highlight, right? Benji. Obviously a frag demon, but on the jet here. It's usually, right, when Vix is playing the ISO, and it's usually Ferps on the jet, so this change-up of Darkest stepping in a little uncharacteristic, but it doesn't matter. If Baker Swarm can still find their way into a site, but Northwood here immediately to try and reflood in.
Yeah, Benji getting spammed away from CT. Now Darkest over on that Heaven position, recon bolt. Again, it's all just about drawing out as much time, and Darkest doesn't have much HP to work with. They can't even jump out of Heaven, I don't think, without breaking their ankles, unless it's going to be on the boxes down below. It's close here from Benji, but ladder moves crouching just below the crosshairs and to keep them alive. And they fight back with a headshot. Wow, oh my god, okay, ladder moves. You wanted to show off on the Haven pistol round. Well, you just made it look good to get Baker Swarm. Flawless round.
And not even just a flawless, but that means their flawless pistol record for this series. They actually won both of them over on Fracture, which is crazy even think about, but here we go. I mean, ladder moves 4-0. When you've got like 4 duelists in the lobby, being the one to step up in that fashion, especially when it was a more direct A execution, it says volumes. And I mean, we kind of mentioned from the role swaps how it might complicate things, make things a little dicey here for a grand finals first time, but okay. See, better weapons make sense. But look at how deep the players from Northwood are traversing A. Already broke the trap wire. You can see ladder moves trying to disengage, but they're not alone. They got Nami for support at their side too.
Okay, ladder moves. Keeping up the streak that they had from the last round. Hot streak slowed down by Ferbza, who's kind of getting these ones, a double kill for them, and that's just get the heck out of there. Holding the close corner though, uppercut's gonna vulnerable and suppress them. That's where Fate's gonna play it safe, right? Keep the double tap up, bring it back up. Keep an eye on any other players that may be weaseling their way through mid. Close tries here from Benji, but Demon's fancy footwork is gonna help them fight back against this Jet.
Okay. It's not over yet. You've already done some decent eco damage on the second round, and now Dipper realizes exactly where these players are going and has proper wrap timing here over towards long. Nobody checking their back. Bryce Ballin. The Spidey sense for a mere second, but they're more worried about clearing out short. They're more worried about getting the spike planted, and Dip knocking out the time, and they should be back up with their weapon out, but again, Discipline goes
No way. No way. The time for Discipline, the time for Fate. Grabbing that headshot onto Tuesday. Baker Swarm. Scary anti-eco, right? But you're looking at what? You're looking at ladder moves getting taken out. They only had the ghosts, and then you're losing Nami. So it's not the worst scenario here for Baker Swarm and the anti-eco.
No, they get the big weapons, so those Vandal that was forced up, the Guardians. So you can see them reshuffling to get the best bonus attempt conversion possible, based on whatever plan strat we're gonna see. This is what's interesting to me, though, is they're placing the Deadlock on the Astra, like, very close to each other. They have the double duelist over towards A instead of, like, an aggressive, like, multi-fronted, like, maybe B main duelist. And as a result, it kind of identifies a clear gap for Baker Swarm to waltz their way onto the B side, because Darkest with that Berry Mesh is also late.
Yeah, has to acquiesce space over to Baker Swarm. This is a little scary with Fate losing their double tap and playing the range with the Spectre, but it's working somehow. Don't ask me how, but it is working. Benji's also pushed so far forward, but the Cypher utility is going to keep them at bay. How long, though, is going to be the real question, whether or not they want to try and push through that. Oh my god, Nami's going to...
It's a Phantom.
Yeah, that's crazy right there. Ladder moves, too. Having that better weapon in hand. Dark is eventually going to go out. Just puts down the grab net, trying to open it up, but that's where Darkest and Benji, operating in concert with each other, throws Baker Swarm into the trash can and gives Northwood Blue a fairly decent bonus round denial.
And I'm sorry, but if we were to listen to Northwood that round, I feel like the comms would have been very goofy, right? Tuesday gets netted down. Darkest still is able to push out off the net, get the first, get the second. And we talked about Benji, the potential that flank would have as well once they shut down ladder moves. I mean, they were just the cherry on top because the players had already taken space on site as well. So even though they lost control of the site, the retake there was fairly clean. And look at this. They seem to have a proper read on the Baker Swarm playbook. They've just been dipping. They go A, they go B, they go C. We're going down the alphabet. And my concern is that not only do you have a Jet here, which is trying to cloak the fact that Deadlock's stacked here, but you have double sensors and Astra utility. Like, this is more secure than a max security prison. And, I mean, they're about to run right into it.
Yeah, not liking these odds. She's going to have to deal with the shield, and then they're going to have to deal with Demon landing a headshot on them. That's the kind of things that you're going to think about for what's going on next round. Perbsa can rotate back over. Does have the kill contract in their hands, but Perbsa so far pushed out. When Baker Swarm, the entire squad, swings, yeah, you're just going to get mowed down.
And they're like, this is what happens when both of our duelists swing one at a time towards long. You've got to step up. You've got to step forward. And we talked about this duo, the work they did last time outside of Garage. This time it's all down to Dip in a 1v5. I mean, count your losses. Save your weapon. Perhaps, or go for the clip farm.
Spike planted.
That dude doesn't want to... It's playing for those exit frags, right? Seeing how far forward they're going to push in. That was a strange round from Northwood, Zobi. You were just... Both of your duelists, right? Playing for the ones. Meanwhile, Baker Swarm is just like, we'll use our entire squad here. The second they make contact, we all fight. And see how many we can get away with. But then it just felt like both duelists did it, and then then you had a duo eventually do it, but at that point, the numbers fell away from your favor.
Like, I feel like one duelist there, even, like, dying is actually a good thing. Like, picking, hopefully they would get their one and then get traded. But, like, it's supposed to draw them in, right? You're like, oh, the duelists are here. That means the Sentinel. That means your pseudo-Sentinel aren't really here to support. So they speed up into the deadlock. So it's like the cheese to the trap kind of vibe, right? But it just, like you mentioned, one player after another. It felt like the vision was lost for that defensive strategy round. And Baker Storm, as a result, keep it flawless. That's going to be a great economy boost here. And Northwood, on the other hand, is scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, not good times. Northwood Blue, it's still something that they scrape together. But yeah, that next round is really going to be the one. If they can't win here, that they're really going to feel the after effects of. Baker Swarm feeling pretty dicey with it, feeling ready and confident to take this A main fight, especially when you got a kill contract, even have the Hunter's Fury. So depending on which ISO is feeling ready to go, doesn't look like it's Ferbs, so yeah, it doesn't look like it's either of the ISOs. They just wanted to back away, yeah. Baker Swarm felt enough of resistance on A to pull back, pull away before finally going back in, yeah. All right, there's Fate gone. Benji's gonna eventually start trying to play for some of that one-way positioning. One player dips inside of the kill contract. The Gulag, Ricepawn is the one inside of there. Ferbs up. Ever confident, as always, in their capabilities and what they can do. Nami's double kill, though. Decisive and effective. You're not going to go any further than that. You know, at least Ferbs is still deposited here. Just from the kill contract alone. They do want to fight this. It's going to have to be Ferbsa to clear out. You got to clear Ferbsa out of that corner. Yeah, because this is what's going to happen if you do.
I guess that's it.
Hold the line with a 4K. And Northwood Blue, a round they needed to win.
There it is, right? Like you're like intelligently sacrificing players, setting them up for fights, while the rest of the map is strengthened, right? You saw Darkest, you saw Tuzi, holding their positions outside of B, outside of C, respectively, just trusting in Ferbs to pop off with Benji as well, deposited so deep off of Dip's Owl drone. That was a really clean fight. And you mentioned, right, the fact that kinda Baker Swarm was like contemplating, okay, are we refighting here or not? And it kind of just got splintered. The decision was made for them before they were truly sold on the idea. But, name of a better combo than this composition and a C-Stake simulator. Let's see it, especially with a kill contract in the mix.
Ooh. Yeah, Tuzi almost got away from the area of effect of the kill contract. This is the kind of fight back we needed to see from Baker Swarm.
There's the whole team.
Maybe caught inside of the grab net, but yeah, that's where the whole team is going to keep them safe and let him get out of there. Dip's just going to Hunter's Fury now, but it's not in time to get ladder moves, but in time to get Nami. Meanwhile, ladder moves, look how far forward they've pushed in.
Dip know?
Dip has to know, right? Dip has judicious sight lines on this link, but ladder moves isn't going to move from this A-link position. Ferbsa has to be ready to take the fight, but yeah, unawares how far ladder moves had gone. And now another fight's gonna break out at Heaven, and Darkest is left behind with only 34 HP.
Yeah, I mean, a 1v4, this is rough, even with your net recharging. Maybe I'll let you isolate one. But what's so difficult for me there, like, some of the moves that were made by Northwood were good, but they felt like afterthoughts, right? Like, it felt like the net, right, like you mentioned, it gets onto ladder moves, the Hunter's Fury comes so late, right? After Darkest has made contact with the team that it only finds one. You're also chipping HP off of Darkest after they already were losing the engagement against ladder moves. And that led to this situation. And it also felt like there was a lapse in, management of space, right? Like we mentioned, ladder moves slipping in through B. It felt like Ferbsa wasn't even aware that a potential that they could be there. It's rough.
It is rough. Now for Northwood Blue, the economical strike is happening now. At least for a couple of the players. The majority of them are still able to cobble together Vandal light shields. Dip may play it safe with the Sheriff. And yeah, the rest of the team not quite as good as it could be. That's where also Rip Benji's one away from the Blaze Storm if they can grab an ult orb. And that's where they're playing for A, all stacked there to let that happen. And I think Northwood, Baker Swarm also kind of realizes that with how fast they want to get in to deny that. Somehow though, Dip is gonna shock Dart Fate. Benji's Blaze Storm gonna do nothing for them. Nami playing like this. Ferbsa giving a masterclass performance with that Sheriff. And Tuzi to follow through. Northwood Blue. What a way to send it back in the face of Baker Swarm.
And that's why you can't count this team out. When things are looking rough around the edges, they pull out heroics like that. They lock in when things are just out of reach, where things might not be able to get turned back around. And I mean, again, we ask for consistency. They say no. We're consistent just enough to keep it close until absolutely necessary. And that's my concern, is that now we're entering a round where, again, it's a buy and ults for Baker Swarm. So Northwood Blue also first, though. We talked about the 4K popped off of the kill contract. Well, they have it back. Ooh, look at this. That's rough.
Yeah, this time they know what's happening. Callouts being made with the dimensional drift too. That Hunter's Fury needs to land, and Rice Ballin with the callouts is gonna make it happen. Nami may be gone, but you're absolutely gonna trade one player for the 3 that was holding the site. Darkus, you got good tracking, but I don't know if the grab net's the one you want to drag there, buddy.
Darkus, one that delivered the heroic to the eco, has to do it again, full blinded by the clone. Waits it out, the shock dart bereavement, the annihilation actually invested. They think they can win this despite the low HP from Tuzi. Wall doesn't matter when you're whipping shots like Demon was. And it's Rice Ballin to pick up the pieces. 3 kills on the round. Baker Swarm again resurface.
Yeah, Baker Swarm had to use a couple of ultimates to make that happen, right? In fact, their entire suite gone, minus the kill contract. It was Hunter's Fury, Into the Shadows, Neural Theft, Dimensional Drift. They are stalwart and determined to win that round. And again, we're back to this haymaker exchange between the two teams, where it's if Northwood Blue can't win these rounds, it's the firepower desert that they're gonna find themselves in.
Oh, and this is where they usually succeed. This joint fight over towards A. 5 players for Baker Swarm rolling up. Dip still in the dark with the shots don't align while ladder moves does. And it's all left to Darkest again. This time the 1v2. No annihilation in hand, no wall in hand. They're more worried about the flank. The net lands. The wall make should be good for both, and it is!
That's crazy.
And I am not impressed.
That's crazy.
Darkest didn't look impressed. That's true.
Are we content farming right now, Zoe? Is that what's going on?
I'm sorry, but that does feel like what Northwood's doing. I mean, you had 4 players fighting A, too short, too long. Like, the crunch was good. They got deep long control, but then the fights go south, and it's all left to Darkest to clutch it up. And I mean, this is your 2nd round sub, and they definitely feel like they're here for that reason.
No stranger to a Baker Swarm timeout. That round felt like it was easily in their possession until Darkest runs in with a grav net, guns down the final 2 remaining players of Baker Swarm. Now it's again just 1 round differential between these two teams. Kill contract, Cosmic Divide online that could give Northwood Blue some legs to work with here. Baker Swarm, in this timeout, figure things out, get the strategies in working order. They've been hitting A multiple times, right? And in a lot of scenarios, they win out in the early initial engagements, able to transition into the late rounds pretty easily. Just in that one moment, I'm sure, where tensions were high, passions were high, get the timeout, heads back on, emotions cooled down.
Yeah. Just a breather opportunity. And again, we mentioned both of these teams. Like, yes, like Northwood, it feels like they're doing it in a more comedic sense. But even Baker Swarm, right? They come back when they need to. Whether it's from these timeouts or the back and forth nature of this match, right? This is their last round before they truly slip into an eco. And this is usually when they deliver. I hate to say it, to break it to you. And I mean, the fact that, again, they're innovating, they're changing things up. A quick garage take. Look at the response from Northwood. 2 players scaling down C. They're going to ensure that if you too take the C site, you have a pinch between Benji and Furbsa. The wall off B here, like, this feels a lot cleaner. I talked about how Northwood, I didn't like that they were lacking a lot of map information. This setup gives them that information. Like, right, they're confined right now to CT and Garage, right? You have the sensors on A, you have dip long, you have the wall on B. Now with the wall dropping, this is where I want to see Darkest and how active he gets.
So they're gonna hold garage space, keep eyes in one direction back over now that the wall has been taken down, and give yourself A link control. Play from there. It's 9 bullets though. Finally gonna go for the reload, and yeah, Demon heard that. They know where Darkest is. Darkest slow walks for Demon to rip their head off. Dip has sightlines on a long. Yeah. Just a recon bolt. No one's going to come in their direction just yet. 30 seconds, though. Baker Swarm has to figure out where they want to go and how they want to play the rest of this round. No smokes have been used either, I don't think, by the Omen, except for the one in garage window. So that utility should be coming back up. Again, though, it's Benji occupying that same territory. Finally going to go in. It's Rice Ballin to suffer. The double tap keeping Fate alive. Finally, Spike going to be planted, but guess who's inside of the smoke? You just walk through that dip, you're gonna have to watch out. Nami beats Furbsa inside of the kill contract. Dip by themselves. They do have a Hunter's Fury, but yeah, you're not gonna want to use that here. You're gonna wait for a better opportunity. It's a 1v3, tough odds, but Baker Swarm is going to regroup back together. Look at all of them. V-Link, high-low. Yeah. Fate, the second dip makes their presence known. It's get rid of them and out of here. Baker Swarm, 6.5.
And Northwood did everything they could to deny that plant, right? We saw the gravel, the shock darts, and it was unfortunate that that kill on to Demon from Dip comes after the plant has gone down. So again, there was no Hunter's Fury to deny either. And even Benji, those shots in the initial entry were clean too, but Baker Swarm, right place, right time. The pivot after taking deep garage control. And also finding Darkest, the main stall factor, was gone. It was just, again, weathering the storm and pulling out around victory when they needed it most. Like I mentioned, now they're on the safe 6. Now they have weapons. First instance, it's Northwood Blue. Again, in thrifty territory. Can they do it once again?
They're going to have to. I'm feeling a little bit nervous about anyone walking in for the ones. That's a smart owl drone being used. Try to get rid of it and keep the cover for as long as they can of the two players in this corner. Baker Swarm, knowing what happened to them in the previous thrifty round that Northwood Blue was in, see how cautious they're approaching this, see how tepid the injuries are. They use the owl drone, and because they didn't get enough information, they're still there. Finally, though, Dimensional Drift is going to be popped. Yeah, Darkest scene right there. You just stonewall them. Right? You body block them. Then you use the kill contract. It's almost unfair, right? Doozy has a classic. And then you swing through. Benji wasn't ready. Baker Swarm. So much more decisive on these 13s. And still look how slow they're taking the C site.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, Dip's just making sure there's no loose ends. Making sure there's no lurk players. But, again, it's Baker Swarm taking no chances, right? It was an eco round. And they invested Dimensional Drift and the kill contract here. Looks like they're just trying to die to Spike. And, I mean, it's the end of the half. Like, which ult is going to cause them round baking endeavor? The neural theft? The Furpsa. Try and take the dive in, see if they can get a gun down. Player down. But at this point, you can even see the chatter and like they're just like even calling out where their teammate is hiding. I can see that.
Yeah. Play for the exit price. Go swing in. Oh my gosh, that's not what you want to see. Staring down at you from C long. Flawless around here for Baker Swarm. No anti-eco, no thrifty gonna stop them this time. Northwood Blue able to buy back up. Looking for that 7-5 first half.
An 8-4 would be insanity for Baker Swarm here. It's an attack-sided map, but that's like the last line, like the bottom line of what you can do on your defense and hope for like a comeback, turnaround. Safely, I should say. And, I mean, mentioned the ults, 2 off from the Blades, 2 off from the Annihilation. Dip and Tuesday, that's more of a retake or a sight denial hit. This is, like I said, where Northwood has thrived, is this aggressive A main space take. And this time it was more faked, right? They wanted to use it as a scare tactic, give them war flashbacks, right? To the side of Baker Swarm, and each time they've lost that fight. And it's worked. It's funneling these players back towards C, back towards this deadlock. Let's see if it works.
Here it is, Hunter's Fury for Hunter's Fury. This Dip is putting in a lot more work with their own, and then Dark is grabbing first blood onto Fate. It's in the wall for Garage. It just scales off.
You have to win that fight or get out. I don't want that frag falling. That would mean the A site falls with you. So finally, Furpsa doesn't stick around. They've overcome the duelist tendencies or reposition on a better angle. Oh, they heard you cross. They had to.
Now they do, right? Demon clearing all the corners. I don't think they did. I think it was just out of range. I don't know. Maybe some recognition there. Just back away, let Furpsa have it. If this can be done by Rice Ball and right, yeah. You get rid of them there.
They're sensors.
Use a recon bolt, sensor, tripped a couple of them. You got to be so careful about what's happening with the rest. The slow pace that they're using to get onto the site is going to help the rotation come back through. They still have to get the spike planted eventually. Demon's going to take some pot shots inside of the smokes. Darkest dodging around it and somehow clapping back using the Annihilation. No one reeled in this time again either. It's back and forth with numbers advantage falling away from Baker Swarm. Down to one player and a flank. Dip looks behind them. The sixth sense, the knowledge on hand This cipher has to be somewhere. And for Northwood Blue, the best expectations they can set for themselves, the best outcome they could hope for in this first half. It's 7-5.
Cool. And I mean, this is my favorite score line. You know, win the pistol, you're suddenly back in it. But that's the conundrum, is that Baker Swarm is 3 for 3 on pistols. So is that a future we're going to get for Northwood? Only time will tell. And I mean, that first half, I mean, literally, look, 2 rounds was the maximum tied together, and it was Baker Swarm both times, right? Like, this was such a backyard brawl. Like, it really felt like, again, simple calling for Northwood, a Baker Swarm consistently flipping through and trying different things round after round. And now that it's on the attack side, it feels like that mentality of Northwood just taking fights where they want them is a perfect match to Haven.
Okay, Northwood Blue. What do you got for us here? Starting on C. A couple of players keeping an eye on Garage. Anybody being a little bit epic about that? Look at this. 2 players selling the fake perfectly.
We're on B.
I mean, Baker Swarm is all over here.
Ladder.
That's crazy. They get out. Ladder has it. Oh, Ladder has to get these shots, but they don't. And they pulled all of the players away, Zobi. So they need to go back around. The gate crash happens there. Verbs is on site. Verbs are rather Fate's on site. Wait, what's going on? Tuesday. Yeah, you're looking over in one direction. Demon's there. Now they're able to take another opportunity with Darkest here. NG looking at CT with a shield. The double tap keeps them going. Fuel left in the tank. On the flank, Rice ballin'.
Darkest plant safe.
Darkest. Very smart ideas here. Doesn't leave anything to chance. Jump peek. Spots out Rice ballin'. Recon bolt for the back line. So that grab net is disgusting. Rice ballin' has no choice. They got to stay crouched here. They got to take their ones without even being able to move. Northwood Blue ain't going to let that happen. Finally, for the first time in this series, Zobi, Northwood Blue gets a pistol round.
And it took the most complex pathing to make it possible, right? We talked about the brilliance of the 2-person A fake. Then they get full control over B off the frag to the ladder moves, but that wasn't enough, right? You took out the Sentinel that holds down the C side. They're like, wait a minute, that means there's nobody on C. Let's go there. And then for some reason, Demon's Gate Crash was on C, and it felt like he was going to disrupt the entire plan. But Benji sticking around and C-Link picks off the rest of the rotatees. Like, that's insanity. And speaking of insane, the entire squad for Baker Swarm being on the correct site for C-Take Simulator Northwood Blue Edition, this could get messy.
Yeah, be cleared close. The uppercut to hurt them massively. Nami getting first blood with the classic. Darkness has the trade. Here comes Benji with the swing. Out of Cubby. Capitalizes on some big plays here. Looks towards the skies above. Nami's gone. Same with Fate. Now, pieces are falling into place. And Iceballing can't even walk on the site. Because guess what? Walled off.
Oh.
Spike planted.
1v4. 2 players, though, really low HP with this Sheriff, but those are the players kind of tucked away safely. You're posing as CT alarm bots, and your full HP players, Tuzi and was Darkest, we're taking the duel head first.
Woo!
That's dangerous. That's the first.
That's spicy. How much more can you go for? Watch out for yeah, watch out for Benji coming up inside a garage. He really doesn't need to watch out for too long. The rest of the squad is going to handle that. Pesky Sova, Northwood Blue. It's tied yet again, 7-7.
Again, an aggressive force-up, disrespecting the opposing team. Trying to do the best they can to get a 3rd round bonus conversion. I mean, 2 rifles, not bad, especially in the hands of your double duelist. Ooh! And a 3rd forced up with a light shield. I'm surprised. You can afford a full shield here, Dip. What? And this is maybe recognizing, again, how dominant their last round was. It's going to be light shields and region shields on the Baker Swarm side. He's bonusing the shield. Wow.
My man. All right, here it is. Verbs trying to go for a similar idea, but the smoke working against him somewhat. Baker Swarm realizing that a lot of that noise being made in sewer, if we can stop that, won't happen this time. You can also see the adaptations and ideas from Baker Swarm to make sure that they're keeping eyes all across the map. It's just if Benji and Darkest are playing like this, it makes it so difficult for the rest of this fight to go their way. You had the same idea, the same plan from the pistol round, transplanted into your bonus, and for Northwood Blue, it's working.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get ladder moves, which again, this feels like them also recognizing how ladder moves played Fracture and it translated to Haven, right? They're always off site, they're playing their life, and this, again, crazy B2C always works as they're not fighting the Cypher setup head on. And Benji, Ace, opportunity to deny, but still a 4K would look nice on the Twitter feed. So, the tailwind expiring. And the right place, right time, they unfortunately are looking the wrong direction. So Nami.
Oh, no.
Dip.
Yeah. Northwood Blue has been having so much fun on Haven on their attack half, right? Players are all over this map. Like we saw on Fracture, they're so clean at abusing the space they have and taking away space from Baker Swarm where they're just not expecting it.
Yeah, it's been crazy. And we talked about how there was no sense of consistency in the first half. Well, this is a complete paradox to that, right? 3 in a row for Northwood. Likely a 4th, again, because they've reset the economic disparity for Baker Swarm. And look at this. I mean, when all else fails and it's an eco on Haven, you go 4 strong down grass. And I love that because it's a deadlock, because it's this composition. They don't have anybody lurking. They have nobody defaulting. And the other difficulty is they have nobody watching the flank. No utility, no players. Uzi, last second, checks their back. Wow.
Doozy. All right. Yeah, that's definitely going on the Twitter feed. We're talking about Twitter feeds. Yeah, that's the one. Ladder moves may have, Ladder may have a Guardian in hand, but that's as far as it's gonna go. It's just be able to pick up the weapon, land a shot on a dip. But the headshot gonna be working far better in their favor. Northwood Blue just dominant in this attack half. Nothing that Baker Swarm is doing is working for them.
I said it, that 7-5 half is just such a curse to bear when the tides change. And I mean, it's starting to drown Baker Swarm here a little bit. They lose this round, I'm expecting another, dumbbell timeout. Just Baker Swarm trademark style. But gotta cross that bridge when you get there. And looks like they are gonna get the head on A fight and an opening pick from Demon.
Ooh, Demon making it look good. Doozy ready to fight back against the Yoru extraordinaire. Now gaining some of that lost space and lost opportunities from comrades fallen. Baker Swarm just keeping the 2 players here. Nami on that high ground. Benji checking to make sure that no one's being a little too crazy with that. If you just missed that smoke going down in that direction, but really has to be careful of the high ground. Oh, yes, and they are, but it wasn't. They looked up in time, but Nami back on the ball just in the nick of time to save themselves. Doozy, yeah, ladder moves.
Distraction.
Yeah, Doozy just sneaks in. Oh, no way.
I do think ladder moves, though, if they actually commit to the B take, could completely
That's a big
disrupt.
recon bolt, too. Hey, wait, whoa, Doozy does it again!
You go back in here. Wait, you
Oh,
don't?
you hear the footsteps! You hear the footsteps, Doozy! They're playing it, they see the barrel! The first ace of the grand finals goes to Doozy, Northwood Blue, forcing out the dumbbell timeout.
I mean, we got one thing right, which was that there was going to be a timeout if they lost that round, but Darkest, patting Doozy on the back for bringing a round back from the brink of disaster, right? Demon opened that round up beautifully, right? They recognized they were starting to handle the fact that, okay, no matter where Northwood's ending, they're starting A, right? And it was a huge mistake, right? They outpaced Dip's recon bolt. So, I mean, you just get to kill farm if you're Demon there. And somehow you lose control over the rest of the map, right? Lanimu's got in position to hold the cross on B, but it was too late. They had 2 heavily committed bodies on the A side. They were too sure. And that's again that we talked about, okay, they needed the forces to fight there, but then you lose control on the rest of the map. So I think Dumbbell's got to be discussing this balance and fine-tuning it.
I got to be discussing that balance. Got to be discussing what North Blue is going to be bringing into this round, too. All of these ultimates. Big strikes. Baker Swarm kind of feeling a dearth of their own. And First was only 2 away from the kill contract. And with the way they've been playing so far on this attack, well within the realm of possibility to grab it for this round. And, I mean, economical tides for Baker Swarm have gone into the red. This is forcing up 2 Vandals, no shields, a couple of Sheriffs and Lights, and a Frenzy of all things.
Ooh. I mean, the thrifty strats coaches, play ground for cooking up strategies, but when again, it's this confident style composition of a double duelist headed by an ISO. Any strategic plan can be put to rest by mechanics, by an ISO with a double tap, and Herbsa. I mean, the double tap may have run out, but you'll get that refreshed if you utilize that kill contract. But,
Yikes!
That Benji picks up an outlaw here is just insult to injury, right? You know it's Nico, you know they don't have shields, and you are going to leverage that fact.
Oh my word, Annihilation! No one caught, reeled in, but it doesn't matter! Because the rest of the squad is just popping off like crazy! Benji a 3K and an outlaw to their name, finally! You're gonna get the spike planted, and Rice Ballin', what are you gonna do here, buddy? I think you were one of the holders of that Sheriff? Yeah, this is... Herbs is just... Herbs have walked away in time. That sets Benji up for the success of a 4K. Northwood Blue. It's unreal what this team is doing.
They're just playing like pass the baton in terms of who gets to get the frags, right? The ace for Tuzi, the 4K for Benji. And, I mean, it's just... It's rough. Like, again, they got to the site in time, but just the re-hit was too strong. I mean, I was confused how Benji didn't get hit by Nami's, like, paranoia. That's also, like, a insane moment. But this is the round. Weapons, ults, another environment that Dumbo could have cooked up a plan to keep Northwood off of a 12th, off of map, and serious point, actually. And they would the trap play.
Make sure to put on your sunglasses or whatever, because this is about to get bright, right? All of the ultimates. Baker Swarm, when they have them, they use them. Benji tucked inside of the gulag. Fate thankfully gonna win that here, but guess what? It's a counter kill contract. That Herbsa's gonna win. So yeah, back and forth between the 2 ISOs. It's a duelist for a controller, and I feel for Baker Swarm that one's gonna be felt a little bit more than Northwood Blue. That's where Ferbsa fills in that spot, and look how far Tuzi is pushed up. See long. Rice Ballin realizes this has to just crosshair a little bit off kilter, where Tuzi is not gonna miss theirs. Fate's gonna back away. They won inside of their kill contract, but I don't want to be too overzealous without any backup, and that's where you see the synchronicity between him and that Yoru.
Okay. To group up the magnetic draw for Northwood to the C site. They destroyed a lot of the Cypher utility already, only the one in Garage.
30 seconds left.
What's interesting here is, again, Baker Swarm, the abuse of the rest of the map, knowing that there isn't a Sentinel to firmly hold the flank down. And I feel like this cognitive divide's only going to give them that false sense of confidence that nobody's there. Tuzi again, the one that holds the flank, but this time...
Wait, no! How, Zobi? How? Does Tuzi do that?
I don't know. I mean, that's just insanity. Like, they were trying to, like, they had knife out. They were going to try and, like, reflank through Garage, which is where the trapwire would have been anyways. Ladder moves, yeah. This was your all or nothing. You didn't even
look at this too.
Like you utilized all the ultimates on the opener, and like there was still 4 players strong for Northwood. Like, you have to save this hero rifle, and you're not even gonna be getting to, because Tuzi, who dealt with the flank, goes all the way A after the fact and gets a 4th.
I don't know. I don't know, Zobi. I like Baker Swarm, like you said, they popped all of the big ultimates, the Hunter's Fury, the Dimensional Drift, the kill contract. And all they got for their efforts was 1. It was immediately traded back by Ferbsa's own kill contract. You're looking at the disparity in ultimate usage in these early rounds, and that's, again, the topic of Baker Swarm's downfall. Early round, good. Rest of the round is spicy.
Yeah. And that's where we kind of saw it strengthened after timeouts over on Fracture, what allowed them to push it to overtime, but that hit factor hasn't been here, and nor has the first Bloods. Herbsa getting another one done. They're the ace stealer here. They get the opening blood, and then it's someone else to get the last 4. Like, that's the trend I'm noticing here. And, ooh, they're not...
A little bit too much here for Benji Tarkus and Ferbsa. It's crazy. Dip wanting to fly up in the sky. Now it's ladder moves. Again, all by themselves, but it's a 1v4, and only a judge. It would have been near impossible with a Vandal, a Phantom, either one of those weapons, but this is a judge. They're walled off. Sonic sensor set up for the trap. Spike ticking away. And Ladder Moose isn't even doing anything. They're waiting for someone to come in their direction. Maybe they may already know that this is a lost cause. And as it continues to tick by and by, Ladder Moose is just chilling out right here, accepting what's happening and looking for that map number 3. Yeah, pull out the classic. Finally gonna make your move. Looking for something flashy, but
Oh no!
you're being chased down by the shorty. You at least get one, and that's something to say here. You put down your hat, and of course, who else but Toozy to send Northwood Blue into our.
Ooh. And with that, like they said, it sends Northwood Blue into the opportunity of a map 3 victory, a 3-0 closeout as we head back to their pick of Lotus. This is the map that they won 15-13 over Baker Swarm in the upper quarterfinals, and it could be where the grand finals makes its grand conclusion, Sam.
What a way that would be to happen, right? So now for Baker Swarm, it's a reverse sweep or nothing, Zobi. And I'm sure that's sitting at the back of their mind, that overtime loss on Lotus. I'm sure also the overtime loss on Fracture, now the Haven defeat happening here as well, weighing on their minds. But this is a team, this is a squad that made that lower bracket run through. They're no strangers to having to make this kind of comeback. And we see the flashes of brilliance from this team. It's just all about getting that forward throughout the rest of the round. And I mean, look at Demon, right? It's 5 first bloods. They had a phenomenal first half, Zobi. It was 7-5. It seems like for them, if they can make these work, if they can figure out from the timeouts how to transition it into the actual game itself, they'd be cooking.
Oh, I mean, if they're cooking, you know? And they may be cooking so much so that they don't even want to break, right? They're worried about burning what might be on the grill. They're just ready and rearing to go to jump into that map 3 of Lotus. And I mean, Lotus. It is a map where they are running, once again, slightly similar, slightly different compositions. And the difference comes from... Actually, I'm gassing you all.
Okay.
I was looking at it. No Sentinel composition for Baker Swarm, if I'm correct.
Ooh, that's
scary with how steamrolled they were getting on the defense for Haven, if this is my research doing me correctly. And unless it's been troll ski doodles, a waylay for Ferpsa.
Okay, we got waylay, maybe here for Lotus. No Sentinel, which is also interesting to think about too, right, Zobi? Considering how close that Lotus map was the last time these two teams fought against each other.
It was a double initiator, double controller. So they had the Teo Breach and they had the Viper Omen. So that's pseudo Sentinel. No, maybe can anchor a B site, or sorry, a C site. But it more worries me. Like, we talked about the late pivots, the abuse. Like when they went C, they were going through B, right? Like, and that's what worries me is you don't have like a vice wall, you don't have a turret, a trap wire to hold down B main. So if they're trying to go aggressive, utilizing this double initiator composition and the Yoru at the helm with a demon, they're gonna have to give up parts of the map, and if Northwood can identify that, it's just gonna be like exploited.
Also, I'm also kind of excited to see the Ferpsa waylay. Right?
I'm hoping. Fingers crossed.
We've gotten some looks at waylay over the weekend in other parts of Valorant, Zobi, and
Icebox.
Yeah, it can be an interesting agent if used in the correct hands, but when not at the right moments, it kind of just all falls apart, and you're leaning back towards the rest of the team to be able to fill in those gaps. It's a dicey proposition here, and an agent that's still being kind of proven and tested, even in the VCT circuit itself. One though that I think if Ferpsa is able to show off here would definitely be on the map of Lotus, right? We were getting confirmation they even hopped in the range. They said they were ready, Zobi, and then you got to get ready for the waylay shenanigans.
Apparently. I mean, to me, I feel like the waylay could actually be really, really good for outpacing, right? In my mind, the insane utility that we're going to see, right? And I will say that there's also been like a kind of a composition shift, actually, it feels like. So the last time these two teams fought, I'm actually gonna like self-correct myself, but also hold on to what I said. They were playing a different composition, and I think they took the inspiration of the Viper that's run by Darkest and adapted it into their own composition for ladder moves beforehand, and so we might see this composition as well. Last time they did play a double duelist. It was a Yoru for Demon, it was an ISO for Nami, a Fade for Fate. Funny. Ladder moves was on the Vice, and then Dumbbell was on the Omen. And then in the later stages, right, like when they were going through that bottom run bracket, like that's when we started to see those changes come out to the composition. So I'm definitely curious to see if they like copy pasted and are gonna keep exactly what we saw from Northwood and their version of it, or if they're gonna go back to that composition that they did last time when they had that 15-13 versus Northwood.
It's something that's sitting in the back, I'm sure, of what they're running through, what they're hoping that they can make work this time on Lotus. It's been a, again, right, long road for them in the lower bracket. It's been a tried, true, and tested composition for them that has helped them to get as far as they have, to get back into the grand finals, to get them all the way to this spot right here for that rematch on Lotus, where originally that was map number 1. This is now map number 3. But Agent Select is going to help all of our questions, Obi. And look at that, look at that little tiny waylay.
Little tiny waylay for Ferbsa. But I'm sure the performance will be big on this map. But it does look like we do get exactly what I mentioned, but we get a change actually from the Northwood composition. They still got the waylay, but they were running Darkest on the Viper. And we were actually joking about this. We're like, why is Darkest on the Deadlock instead of the Breach over on Haven? And we're like, okay, maybe when they summon, they actually do play it. Oh wow, we're getting lied to. I'm getting double picked out. I'm right. Cool. I'm correct over the software. That's how cool I am. They changed last second. Darkest was trolling us. All right, amazing.
There's gotta be some. We gotta put some sanctions against this Northwood squad, I think, or something here, right?
The level of production jokes they run, yeah.
I don't know. All right, anyway, so yeah, it's Darkest on the Viper, so not having that double initiator, instead looking towards throwing some shenanigans with walls up on A main. Darkest is gonna back away, leave up the poison orb here, set to go with the snake bite. They slowly walk in. This is gonna be dicey here, right? You're playing off the timing for Darkest or the dissipation of the smoke. Finally, that's gonna have the stealth drone being used. Darkest is trying to make a couple of decisions what they want to do, but that stealth drone kind of took a little swerve, Zobi.
Yeah, it's like what the dog doing? What the drone doing? I couldn't tell, and I was surprised Darkest didn't let the snake bite rip. They called the bluff, and they were correct on the initial execution. And it feels like Baker Swarm. I mean, you've already lost a player. It feels like they're doubting their strategy as well, or maybe they're just trying to default, get rid of some of the utility, some of the certainty there from the side of Northwood. But even then, Benji, they're not gonna hold their delay util.
No, they're not. Speaking of delay util, it is starting to get down to the timer wire. Snakebite's gonna go in, blinded, but Darkest can seek safe harbor at the pillar, trying to fight Rice Ball, and is gonna end out in that victory there. You just keep going back in for the right click dip down in the waters below. Nami, yeah, this is trying to get your ones here, but with a clean crouch from Darkest and clean shots to follow through with it. Northwood Blue gets the pistol.
Baker Swarm, they're usually decisive, right? Like, I thought we were going to see the C rep, right? Especially because if they had done it earlier, Darkest was alone, right? And they already were challenging the snake bite. It's better to do it when it's just Darkest instead of the entire force of the team and the support utility coming through. Like, I don't know. Like, they heard the utility on A. They were poised for a C. Like, they go knock on the door of B, but never actually execute. It just felt like no matter where they went, they weren't certain. And they weren't, like, solidified. Then you mentioned time ticks away. They have to make a decision. And the decision wasn't fully fleshed out. But this is crazy. Not only do you dash in, which is normal, but it's with an outlaw?
Yeah, okay. Flavors of Jet, am I right? Dip is going to be stealth drone suppressed. They still get the guided salvo out in time, and dodges the return guided salvo. And just expert dodging. Darkest, yeah. All right, this is definitely what we expect. They're hearing a lot of noise around them too. They're gonna be helped out by Omen, but it's really just expecting Tuesday to get out of there. But guess who's already here? It's Demon. They weaseled their way all the way in. Yeah, it had to have been a gate crash, right?
Well, that's sight. That's a numbers advantage and a weapon. I mean, you know, very low HP though, Nami. I was about to say that you might want to hand that roll off to somebody else because might not be able to survive the spike plant, but it's not done just yet. the better weapons. The Outlaw making its way over. Still have some great utility between the Teo and the Deadlock here for Ferbsa to capitalize off of, but they got their own utility up their pocket, right? Snake by fault line. Playing the close angles here, but it might not matter. Oh my goodness, Flutter.
From Mound. Oh, Ferbsa has to scope in quick for the shot on the Outlaw. This Sheriff is going crazy from ladder moves. Dip's been putting in some massive work here. Gets over onto the high ground, tries to abuse fate from up above, but it turns out dragging him down to the hells below. Baker Swarm. Hey, there we go. 1-1.
Nah, I mean, I don't even know what went wrong, right? Like, you, again, have stomped them out of an A hit. I thought we were finally going to see, like, the solidified exec into B, actually, right? Like, we saw the salvos. We saw so much invested, and they don't commit there either. And then the C one was kind of... It felt like lucky, right? Demon, kind of the repinch onto 2Z there. You clear the corner, get the trade from Darkest. It just kind of fell apart a little bit there for Northwood. So they're probably going to laugh that one off, try to get back to business here. But with economy kind of reset here, get to see what exactly happens. Demon carrying the Outlaw like a trophy over from Ferbsa. Looking to convert it into a first blood here.
Yeah, there's no signs of life, right? Small jump peak, but this bulwark is being gathered at A with one unbreakable. Yeah, this is gonna be scary. He even tries to punch through it, but this is also a Baker Swarm squad that's used to being able to take these anti-ecos like this with that better weaponry, with that better firepower. Small technical issue here, Zobi. The grand finals
of life.
Too crazy. No, we're back. No one's dead.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Yay! Finally, something might be happening. Darkest to go back onto site. Get away from that. Take a couple of pot shots for their effort and take a death for their efforts too. Benji's finally going to put down the grab net, but all of this utility is just way too much. Whether the storm from
30 seconds left.
now, Northwood Blue, come back over, make a swarm. Weapons, spike planted, numbers. It'll be tough.
Spike planted.
And you mentioned looking for signs of life over towards A. They almost walked into the trap that was 4 players strong for Northwood, but really dipped to see again the solo Darkest hold. And they've got a sight. But look at the flood. The numbers were there, but the shots aren't. Fate shot down by Ferbsa, but with only a Sheriff in hand and 4 more players to go, it would take a miracle, and they don't hand those out every day.
And they don't. Miracles few and far between. Make a swarm. And it was that long few seconds that happened on A. Then it's like, okay, maybe we go to C, where it's kind of just been Darkest holding the line.
Yeah, I need to see some Deadlock util there. I'm sorry. Low key. Like that, or like I just need something. Like fight C mound. Maybe an operator. It looks like they were just doing skin shopping for Darkest. They make the full sprint over to A to hand it off and then head back to C. Or maybe 2Z. We kind of talked about that fight that happened right in the second round. 2Z supporting Darkest. They are fighting forward, but look at the utility.
Oh, 2Z. Okay. You give Darkest a pat on the back or something there, buddy. Because he just saved your life. Demon. Put out the patch of Darkest, trying to draw attention with a ping of the ultimate orb. Ferbsa posted here with an operator. Deadly weapon, Benji.
Oh, I love the sensor.
And setting up a sonic sensor at the entrance to A main. Gonna be broken. We also hear the Michael being going along with it. Dip. A lot of damage. Nami's gonna walk away with some of their own.
Did you see it?
Yes, yeah, it did. No, it didn't. Maybe it didn't actually. Maybe something happened here, but regardless, Ferbsa is gonna be traded out by Rice Ballin. Some numbers that Northwood can work with and abuse. Benji's also gonna put down that wall.
They're just gonna play time, play delay out the Deadlock. I mentioned, okay, my reservations of not having any of this Deadlock utility on C. This is what you get, that mobility, right? As soon as you know where they're going, you put up the sonic sensors, and you're guaranteed 100% delay rate. But look at this. Gotten your a Rice Ball to pick up the operator here. You're hoping for, again, that overzealousness from Northwood, over peaking to happen. But Dip, just the jiggle, just looking for the info. And that drone's gonna find it. Oh my god, so fast pivot into B here. They have salvos back.
Yeah, they can try and just hold down the line. And spray it all over. Rice Ballin.
Ouch.
Switch the operator for a Vandal, but doozy. Those kind of shots, you expect Northwood Blue to be 2-2.
Well, They played that really cautiously, really careful. I liked it. Again, not sticking their heads out where they didn't have to. It was all for the sake of delay, sake of trades. I think Dip was the only one that really took a risk, and they found theirs, so it pays off. Gets them back to this 2-on-2. Economy's still a little shaky, but that's bound to happen after you lost a second round to a Thrifty. But another round or two victory, they should be back in sorts. So we'll see what Bigger Swarm can do. Dimensional Drift online, weapons in hand. They're finally breaking through this A-hold, or at least trying to.
Did Tuesday get seen? Must have been. Paranoia was there, but Rice Ball and dodges their way around it. Gets rid of the Omen. Now ripping out of the Dimensional Drift. One less attack that they have to one less attacker defender that they have to deal with. Yeah.
All the way through C. So the players like Darkest, like Div, can be confident to stick around B or A. I wonder if they're going to find ladder modes as well, because in this toxic screen that's supposed to be there for the A exec, won't be anymore. Oh.
They're not going to make the rotation, though. Jeez, they had to have seen the barrel.
Maybe they didn't.
Yeah. Ladder moves. Hanging out for as long as they did. That's big tidings over there. May even be going back to check and make sure no one's going to try and play for another cheeky flank. Yeah, you just leave behind. Now you step inside of B. Darkest, over on all sides. Special delivery. Halts them down for a second. They dodge the outlaw here. They're missing the shots with the Guardian that needed to land. Northwood Blue losing out on the players.
Spike planted.
Losing out on the chances. Baker Swarm. They know when to. They have the tempo set for what they want to do on Lotus. This is just working out brilliantly for them.
And a save from Northwood Blue. I mentioned again, they had some weapons, some were worse for wear. Even the best of the best. I wonder if the op's been salvaged as well. Or maybe you send a player out here to go look for it and spawn. But well, what sticks out to me there is you mentioned the tempo change. It's how fast they can also change it. Right? Yep. When they got the frag onto Ferbsa from ladder moves, they realized, wait a minute, if they cleared out all of C, that means they probably have a massive stack over towards A, right? And so they realized, okay, we can't commit into A, let's head into B. And even when they went B, they effectively cleared out Darkest, right? And from the utility, like the special delivery and the aftershock, to then even sending Demon to just double check. Like, they look clean after being down 0-2 in this series at the moment.
Yeah. And we were feeling for Baker Swarm, right? There'll be a little nervous for them coming off that pistol round where they look so lost, wandering around. But the recovery that happened in the anti-eco against Northwood Blue that's just been carried on between these rounds has been nothing short of spectacular for this team. Now Northwood Blue, right? This pie, Baker Swarm's looking for a chance to get ahead of the curve. This is the time.
So the hero rifles are enough. Also the Viper's Pit. Darkest on the site, feeding the aggression here, coach, let it go. Or Benji, wow. Tries to get aggressive, tries to go for a heroic play, and Darkest almost follows them to a similar fate here. Thinks better of it. Reposition coming through. We've seen them play Bend. They get util dumped. There's no escape, so they've kind of found this happy medium ground waiting for the dark cover to dissipate. Also, we talked about Ferbs of the proactivity and how much space they gain. Once again, they're knocking on the door of attacker spawn here.
Whoop. It's on to safety.
Wow.
Darkest, unfortunately, can't say the same thing for themselves. Ferbsa is in the back lines. Guess what? That's where, hey, ladder moves knows they're coming, but Ferbsa sees an opportunity. Nami steps into the shadows. And weaponry may be given towards something here, but it's like you said, an Armageddon is set and ready to go. It could use that, but they're waiting for the regroup of the squad, maybe even draw some eyes on Revolving Door. Yeah, that's definitely Fate's eyes on Tuesday. Not only Fate's eyes, but Fate's bullets. Dip is firing back. A couple of wall bangs coming right in front of them. Again, we're talking about the utility they have set up. And look who's over there on the other side, right? At CT. They try to go for one fight. Immediately, the Yoru pushing in. Back on top. Baker Swarm keeping this train going.
Yeah, it feels like Northwood Blue is not afraid to fight forward, but when they do fight forward, it feels like it's an afterthought, or it feels like there's not enough dedicated to it, right? Like Ferbsa, when they deposit him deep A main, there's a lot of support there. But then when they're fighting elsewhere, like Benji trying to walk through a dark cover solo, it gets suppressed. When it's players trying to fight out B main, it's like dealt with as well. Like it's a little bit dangerous here, and why I think Baker Swarm is currently leading 4-2. But Ferbsa, weapons back in hand. Again, this aggressive utility combo. The Nico, though, this time. So they're trying again to just wait out that pressure. Baker Swarm knows it's coming towards them.
And you hear the utility, you hear everything coming in your direction, so you just wait it out. Even with an outlaw, caught inside of the... Oof, that gate crashes. Beautiful. They saw the guided salvo, they were stuck inside of the grav net. Fault line down, everything working against them. Yeah, it's just get out of there. Now we see over on the back, Stealth Drone's going to go in. Tuzi may have been seen, but not suppressed. Still gets to use their paranoia. Yeah, but Baker Swarm's not going to play into that. They're not going to fight that if they don't have to. Yeah, just give it back to C and take out Darkness and Swarm C.
Ooh, Marshall's here. Not the outlaw, but it'll still get you dinged down a little bit, weakened for the site take. I'm curious. We've seen respect from Baker Swarm towards Northwood. So do you invest the Rolling Thunder here?
Possibility. Smoke and
Site smoke.
yeah, awkward position here for Arcus. Hey, look at that. Ooh. They trying to jump on site. Benji gets the Armageddon, draws someone in, gets Nami, but they're going to be broken out. Maybe not. Not if Darkness is landing that. And what was an E? Oh my god.
Thrifty.
And what did we say, Sam? When things are just on the verge of getting out of hand for Northwood, they win the unthinkable, right? It was like, Baker Swarm, you win that round, you're basically going to go 6 or more. Similar to what we saw from the 7-5, or better maybe we would get to see from Haven. And, I mean, Darkest, the Marshall opening, like, over towards C, the closing, that was a beautiful trap play as well. So that side smoke, it's pretty standard now from the attackers, just to play around, block both, you know, backside and waterfall control. But when you have up-close right-click classics and an Armageddon to funnel them into Annihilation, that was a beautiful eco trap. And now, with weapons in hand, they can just fight!
Yeah, and their fight they are. Demon, they were hoping they could stay safe, but the gate crash being heard. Turn back around, and they're gone. At least Baker Swarm, they're gonna Rolling Thunder their way in. I think Dip gets to cover in time. Fergus is gonna answer with Convergent Pass, but Riceballing gets on the other side of it just in time. Poor Fate, though, hindered. Can't jump, can't shoot, can't do much. All slowed down. And ladder move seen by the stealth drone. Like you said, 9 bullets, not a lot to work with in there. Firing away, needs to make sure that they have something in the chamber to win out the 1v3 with, but they see a snake bite at their feet. They got to go and grab the spike. And the only thing I can say for this poor player is, yikes. I do not want to be in their shoes. Try as they might, they're getting the ones that, yep, and once the guided salvo pushes them out, Darkus is going to embrace them. Northwood Blue, going to tie it up.
All right, 4-4. And I was curious. I had like that little thought, like it pop in the back of my head. I'm like, do we see a timeout now? Do we see it like a round or two after? But again, before the half kind of feels solidified, before it winds down, getting their word in here, trying to keep it close because this is the tax side Lotus, right? Again, you want that advantage. And a 7-5 wasn't enough for them over on Haven, the other 3 site maps. So if it's this close for Northwood versus, you know, what we saw over there, it could spell disaster once we get Northwood on the attack. I mean, this composition, like, yes, it has a Sentinel, but it's a deadlock. So that's also an aggressive, you know, agent with the swap out of the Gravnet to the signature.
Yeah, looking at that Northwood Blue composition, especially with how they played on Haven, right? Where they really struggled on the defense, but once it got on the attack side, it ran away with it, right? Baker Swarm just could not keep up with Northwood Blue's different flavors of aggression and different flavors of site hit, site attack, util, ultimate combinations. And so that's what kind of leads me to be nervous for Baker Swarm and why a timeout like this for them is so important. And unfortunately for Nami, right, you got to get the Guardian in hand. Someone else is going to have to purchase that for you here. We're talking about those rounds that need to be grabbed from the jaws of darkness, light your way through. This is one of those rounds for Baker Swarm, and hopefully that timeout gives them enough fuel to keep the lights on.
Well, here we go. Ferbs to the dash in. This has become characteristic. I've wanted to see Baker Swarm, when out of Dimensional Drift, find a way to fight forward here. But speaking of fighting forward, might be too close to the sun there. The saturate to try and get back out. They got itself to follow it up, but no one taking the dive here from Baker Swarm. They look scared.
And that's crazy too. The one-time Ferbs doesn't decide to use their recall is there. And investment of the Armageddon from Baker Swarm to gain rubble control. No one's there, Zobi. No one has come out of A main yet. Finally, we're going to see more of the utility, special delivery, flashbang, but you're getting blinded. And you hold the spray. That's all you have to do if you're Baker Swarm. Northwood Blue is still getting absolutely hammered inside of this one entryway, of this one archway.
Wait, look.
Yeah,
Ladder
meanwhile,
moves.
yeah. Ladder moves. Ladder moves, this could be big. No, Fergus has eyes.
They're aware. They're aware.
No.
Oh, no.
Wait, the timing of the sentry here, maybe? Ladder moves may have been seen, but now, because of that fight, everyone's going to come back around for this. Little right click, get playing it carefully. Nami had no choice but to try and make heroics work for them. Don the cape. Northwood Blues, kryptonite to this team.
And I was holding my breath there. I mean, Baker Swarm, those timeouts have usually been the turnaround calling card, and this time it's shut out. It looked even more lost almost, just waiting again for Northwood to overstep, and they never did. And even Ladder was in that position. I was getting flashbacks, right, to fracture the missed timing, looking away from the flank. I think it was Nami that collapsed inward, but the fact that they don't take the dive in when they could have punished Purvza, they don't take the dive in when they pop an Armageddon. Like, I guess the converging paths like helped a little bit there, but all right, we saw no confidence, so let's take the confidence up to 100. Fast C mount take, try to get Darkest caught out in the open. Look at this, Northwood made the adjustment that I asked for a while back. Place the deadlock here with Darkest.
Yeah, a little bit of proactivity. There's the side smoke, but a pesky little wall. Not enough of ammo from Demon to eliminate it in time.
No way.
Not only that, but yeah, Darkest wins that engagement. Furbistel on the high ground. Throws down a little ball of light. All about hindering. May have been blinded here. Tuzi's got the paranoia. Get over to the other side. Tuzi's tracking. Next level. Ladder moves, 5 HP. Yeah, that's a sneeze on the moment. Hit him at distance with a classic. That special delivery is crazy. No way, the snake bite dead. Util dumb. There's not much that you can do there. Try and hope for the other direction coming in that way, but Benji instead supporting their teammates from the grave. Northwood Blue as a 6-round half now against Baker Swarm's 4. Still 2 more rounds to go and a easy chance for them to get 8-4.
And there's 2 things to point out here. One, again, we were worried for Baker Swarm. They don't have a Sentinel. And they're going to be looking at a deficit possibly. I mean, look at the economy, right? Granting no thrifty happening, it should be a 7-4. And Northwood Blue, they've cleaned up their act, right? We talked about Fracture, how they would over-rotate and get lucky. Here, they are not moving. And they are not letting anything slip through. Like, Baker Swarm would have been able to get away with a play like that on Fracture, but not here.
Okay.
Furbza?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank goodness that Furbza had the refract available to bring them back around the safety. But this time, though, they're just going to have to rely on the raw aim. And a little help from Minji. Northwood Blue sweeping the legs right out from underneath Baker Swarm.
And we said we expected something like that to happen, but not in that fashion, right? Armageddon popped by Northwood Blue on the eco. I mean, they know the half's winding down. They know they're going to replace it here with Ferb's converging paths with likely a Benji annihilation before the round's up. But again, we never saw Baker Swarm except for when they had Dimensional Drift find a way to win this A fight. And guess what they have now for the last round of the half?
Yeah,
Let us see a demon.
They're not even doing it yet. They're just trying to win these naturally. It was crazy too, right? Because they looked like they were poised to take this A fight. But I think maybe... Oh, yeah, just get through it. This team slowed down, dip, special delivery, still being seen by Demon. Not much that they can really do here except for to make those call-outs happen. It's unfortunate that with the call-outs Demon has, you have to look towards the high ground. It's all falling off to the wayside. Ferbza, ladder moves, falls, Viper's Pit, fallen. Spike at the feet of Northwood Blue. Demon has all of the utility to work with here, but yeah, look at that. The wall comes up, you play the high-low. What can you do to stop Northwood Blue? An 8-4 first half. And eyes on Grand Champion title.
Again, just the way they're playing this composition. Northwood Blue. I've yet to see like what I, in my mind, is a successful Waylay. It feels like, again, just new agent fever. This has been a clean investment. Like, again, the converging paths have been perfect. That pinch, the refract instead of a crossfire with Darkest who pushes through revolving door after being that C pillar of support. Like, that was perfection to shut out that B execution. Even after the Dimensional Drift had overwhelmed Dip. But Here we go, 8-4. Baker Swarm were the pistol masters prior to Lotus. Let's see if they can get one when they need it most here now on map 3 of NECC Division 1 Grand Finals.
Northwood Blue's been looking next level on their pistol rounds.
Ooh, it's a trap.
Yeah.
Revolving door, paranoia, hit the switch.
They just kind of know that. Perpsa, Refrax, they knew what was going to happen. They knew how the trap was going to be set up, and they played it to get all of this out. And the plan B was just deposit Rice Ball and hope they have ideas of fracture brilliance. Just wasn't quite there, but as the wall comes up, Flashbang goes out, Darkest gets overwhelmed. Go back over to the other side and make an adjustment, maybe in through Breakable towards B.
The salvos are good, but Fate, beautiful delay and an opening kill. Paranoia retaliates, but all it does is flush him back towards CT where they can rebound. Did their timings. I like this though, the fight forward off the net. You don't want them to slip through. You don't want that regeneration of utility. And now you even go towards C, the last 2 players alive. With that lurk, Darkest got shut down, but they saw both of these players. They know.
Dip holding close on that
Yeah,
angle.
numbers,
Yeah, they're hearing the footsteps, man. And now you have the final player locked in. Location realized.
The crossfire.
Yeah, you look in one place. The second Demon does anything here, the second they start walking out any further. But instead, it's Benji and Waterfall again to send Baker Swarm off to the pasture. Northwood Blue, 9-4.
And that is now 7 rounds in a row as well. And look at this, you can see it. Like, this is the scoreline where you're like contemplating maybe leaning away from a force up, but it's the Stinger squad. 3 players here investing inwards. And looks like they're gonna go towards the B site here as well, the close quarters. And that's my concern, is you don't have the resources to fight for this A main space, so of course Northwood Blue's gonna abuse it.
Here we go. Yep, curves up. Fancy footwork, fancy dashing, rubble control taken. Wall may slow them down for just a moment, but really got to make sure these corners are cleared out. Love how they're skirting along the wall. Breakable needs to be taken care of, needs to be dealt with, but Stinger, Purpose is going to respect it, especially brought down to 62 HP. Won't want to take any chances of losing a massive power weapon like that. Look too, right, Tuzi? Got the Vandal, Rice Ball in 9 HP, but they're going to do whatever, their damnedest to take down someone from Northwood.
They're just there, the insurance policy, so you can't go B. The jiggle as well from Nami, C, should be able to receive it as well and like inform the rotation away. But the fact that Northwood's cut noise here leaves Baker Swarm with a lot of question marks. And that's the thing with this composition, right? Yes, it's a double initiator, but all you have is that drone. And that's it. And so when you can't know where these players are, you can get surprises like an outlaw from Darkest to completely open at the C site. And I mean, how do you retake this?
It almost feels like you don't. The wall at Waterfall. Spike planted on the actual site itself. Sonic sensors are going to go up. The full fighting firepower of Northwood Blue. And Baker Swarm's waiting to regroup with each other to go for this retake, but even with some of the weaponry they have, right, you're going to hear the 2 footsteps in this direction. Demon has no more flashbangs. You're going to try and use a clone maybe to slow them down, but my God! It is decisive. It is destruction made manifest. Northwood Blue. They may have lost the anti-eco on the defense, but the attack is a completely different story.
And the message that Ferbsa just sent by handing the Phantom away, taking one of the Stingers that was forced up by Baker Swarm, and using it to get one of the final kills to deliver this double digits is the explanation of how this map and maybe this series is about to come to a conclusion. I mean, 10-4, you have the Annihilation online for Benji, and they already have been able to win a main control without that. So let's see. I mean, it's this trio, right? Your double initiator, your Yaru, they should be able to hold this space.
They should be able to.
As again, a way later to disrespect it.
Yep. They're already here. I don't even know if Fate really even realizes that. They have the crosshair set up ready to go for it, but sheer firepower from the Stinger is going to put them down on the ground. Ferbsa, eyes on Fox. This aim is just unstoppable, man. Northwood Blue is just unstoppable. Ferbsa can only go so far from this direction, but they were working with a Stinger and a Sheriff. Northwood Blue, everyone else, Phantoms.
And I love that the plan never was to go A there, right? Like we talked about, again, this composition, you have nothing to hold down B main if you leave it open. And that's exactly what Baker Swarm did. The A pressure, they left B open. And so 2 players waltz up there, then you pinch and you put the deadlock wall up A main so they can't rotate through blue room. And now it's all down to ladder moves. 1v3, the double swing, the shotgun chasing you down with the phantom spray from Benji to complement it. 11 here, 4 here for Baker Swarm. Do we get another timeout?
We have to, right?
We have one more, right? Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
they do. Yeah. There's the dumbbell timeout. It's just 2 more rounds now, Zobi. 2 more rounds, and we'll be seeing Northwood Blue and San Antonio. The NECC LAN Championships. This is...
It would make their return, actually.
The comeback. But for now...
Cast them on LAN, remember last year?
Yeah, that was good times. That was good times. Now we're moving. We're relocating. Actually,
Not too far away.
Yeah. Not too far away. But for Northwood Blue, they're not too far away from that opportunity and from those tickets. Baker Swarm, it's going to be a long road, though. An arduous one at that. Your backs are well and truly against the wall. Your opponent has a 7-round lead ahead of you. And not only that, right, Zobi, but it's been a 8 round in a row now that Baker Swarm just has not been able to stop.
Yeah, and that's the issue. We saw a similar streak of consistency, right, over on Haven. When the sides swapped, Northwood did not lose a single round. And they look like they're trying to repeat that here up until 12 and victory. And that's my concern here, is that this situation is worse off for Baker Swarm than last time they took a timeout at 11. Last time they had ults and the weapons. This time, they are nowhere near highly impactful ultimates. There's not much to plan around. And, I mean, you haven't even gotten to see a Northwood C exec straight outright. And that's what they're trying to run here, off the Annihilation. Off of the Waylay. What is it going to look like, Nami? Oh.
Ooh, okay. The little tiny peak above. Door's going to open. Darkest.
That's not good.
That's toe-to-toe against Demon. And, yeah, like you said, that's not good. I mean,
They're going back A.
Darkest being able to grab that one has opened up a world of possibilities for Northwood Blue. And yet still they're kind of poking and prodding all across the map to figure out the right spots, to draw away rotations to figure out where things are happening. This is good though, right? Fate's going to eliminate Darkest, so that's a small comeback for Baker Swarm, but Nami is not looking good.
A low HP but Paranoia in hand. They're gonna try and contact off of any of this utility, and while you fall, you at least grasp a player, and Ferbs is gonna make sure that that player ladder moves, that Viper stays in the grave. Makes it a 3v2. You have the converging paths online, but you might not need it. It's all down to fate, quite literally, for Baker Swarm to have a chance before map point is reached. Oh.
Yeah, all the utility they can possibly pop off with. They know that the smoke is there. But if you're Northwood Blue, realizing how long the timing is for someone to come out of that smoke, Tuzi and Ferbza rotate back over to Waterfall. And Northwood Blue, championship point.
And they're like, wait, guys, we can't just get 13 forward like this. But it doesn't matter. Northwood Blue, weapons in hand. A forced buy from Baker Swarm. You're going to be forcing every round here until overtime. We'll see if they get that brevity, they get that round that's much needed. And still, like, because of how dominant that round was for Northwood Blue, like, yes, you lose the lurk player of Darkest, and Ferbs had to get the trade on to your entry player from Benji, but it's robbing, starving Baker Swarm of ults as well. So they still don't have much here. They still don't have a way to win any ounce of control across the map, right? They're lucky they got Mountain with the Demon getting repositioned over there and giving up A. It means they don't have to weather the converging paths, but what does a 5-on-5 retake look like to determine the fate of this grand finals? With suboptimal weapons.
Truly, at this point, I do not know. A wall and stairs. Again, you're taking away options from Baker Swarm. You're taking away avenues of possibilities. Dip's gonna dodge the suppression of the stealth drone, but they're still kind of seen, right? So back away. Ferbs is here, though. Ferbs is posted. Ferbs is planted. And they're ready to take the timings. It may be a one-way, but it's actually in favor of Ferbsa. They're gonna see the feat of Nami. Now it's down to the final 3 players. Dip, Rice ball and caught by the special delivery. Caught by Toozy. Hook, line, and sinker. Northwood Blue, returning champions, going straight to San Antonio. Your spring NECC 2025 Valorant Grand Champions here in Division 1.
And all of their work, this spree of victories and strong showings during spring break into the conclusion of the semester, especially while balancing so many things, being students, being VCL players, being game changers coaches. It's impressive, especially when sporting this kind of pseudo 6-man roster, right? With Darkus stepping in and out for Vix. It truly has made this a well-rounded squad to be feared. We talked about it, right? The improvements from Baker Swarm on a map like Fracture, and then it's worse, disastrous here with this new composition up against Northwood on Lotus. No 15-13, it was 13-4. Mainly off of Furbza, 6 opening bloods, they were lethal, and I'm sure Darkus on the Lurks stole the other round one.
I know we were thinking of Waylay, right? How's that going to go? How's that going to work out? Tiny little picture on the agent select, but a massive performance from Furbza to lead their way back in for the team to have this phenomenal victory of a 13-4 and a 3-0 best of 5 grand finals. And a reason why we're seeing Northwood Blue obtaining the perfect run, losing only one map, and that was to Concordia St. Paul Blue in the semifinals. So a massive congratulations to this team, a massive show of force and what they're capable of. And honestly, Zobi, it's sort of a return to form for this program, but we're once the kings of Valorant now ready to take back their crown.
And with these college students, mental is everything. So this victory and having a guaranteed spot in CVAL championship playoffs as well from winning out North as well means that they could go on a run to retrieve their title of old, right? And I mean, we really thought that Baker Swarm was going to put up more of a fight. I mean, yes, there was a 2-0 last time, but they were taking maps off of CSP. CSP was taking maps off of Northwood. Like, I feel like the Division 1 gap felt so close this semester. So the fact that it was still a 3-0 victory is a statement.
It really, really is. However, Zobi, that is going to be it for this broadcast, but this is where I'm going to remind everyone to go ahead and hit that follow button because we have so much more action across all of the variety of NECC titles left to go, including League and Smash finals tomorrow, R6 and CS2 finals Wednesday, Rocket League on Thursday, Overwatch 2 Friday, and if you're still wanting more Valorant, well, guess what? We got good news, right? If you still want more League of Legends on top of that, because we have CLO and CVAL this Saturday headed up by us on the CVAL side, Zobi. And then Nationals, And then Nationals for Division 2 and below starting next Monday. Before we also head out again, Zobi, I think there's like a phenomenal meat stick sponsor that helps us to keep the lights on.
Yeah. I mean, like you mentioned, there's a lot of titles, a lot of streams, and that definitely takes some support. And there's one company in particular that's been fueling our game, and that's Wenzel's Farm Sticks. No mess, no distractions, keep those keyboards clean. Just bold, protein-packed flavor that keeps us locked in on our games. Whether we're grinding ranked or leading the squad, like we just saw Northwood do, Wenzel's keeps us powered up. Make sure to grab a stick, stay in the game, and crush the competition no matter what game title it is. Wenzel's Farm, fuel for gamers, flavor for champions that have now been crowned.
A big congratulations to Northwood Blue. A big thank you to our behind-the-scenes production staff and observer, Rare Adam and ReachDet, for all of their amazing work in making this production look as smooth as possible. And of course, a big thank you to all of you for watching. Again, make sure to hit that follow button. Follow us on all of the socials to get notifications to when this stream goes live. And until the next one, everyone, we'll see you on the next one.
He won't let go. What do you mean he won't let go? He's dead.
Help me. Get in there. No, just hold on.
Make him let go of it. No, I got you. Just go in for a hug. Go and get on in there. It's a bad loss. Yeah, hug him up. Just reach. Hug him up. From the other side. Go.
I can't.
Just-
I can't do it.
Help me, Lord. Help me get over this loss.
I can't breathe.
Hey, I can't breathe. I'm so upset. I can't breathe. Stop. You knock on wood so they go to heaven. It's like a lucky. Hey, get the stick.
Yeah,
Hey, did you get the meat stick?
yeah, I got it.
Hey, just hold tight for a second. They're moving the casket. Just hold tight.
Yeah, it's no worries. I got it.
Oh, what an awesome day for a pump, dude.
Yeah, I gotta take it easy. Doc says if I exert myself, I will die.
You overexert yourself, you will die.
I'll tell you what, you finish the workout, all these could be yours. That looks good. A little bit of honey ham for the ham. Get after it, and that's your get after it, and that's your treat. Hey, do the exercise, do the work, then you get the reward. That's how this works, man. You gotta give it max effort, maximum effort. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Big hams. Make it work, those hams. Work 'em. Putting in the work. Yeah, baby. Yes. Dude, this is a spicy workout. Gotta make it worth it. Building the beef and bringing home the bacon, baby. I'm loving it. Teriyaki is just about within your reach. Come on, get you some. Come on. Ooh, ooh. Maximum effort. Maximum effort. You're there. You're almost there.
That's so worth it.
What do you make of this up here? Just showed up in the yard a couple days
Has a
ago.
dog been digging in here?
I don't think so, dude. That goes way down in there. Seriously, did you just lose your meat stick?
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's something in there, dude. Just leave it.
Are you kidding me?
We'll just head to the house. Just leave it.
Hell with that.
Oh, yeah, there's something in there.
Want one?
Thank you.